Alright, what's up everybody? It's Lids and we are back for some more Darkest Dungeon with, of course, characters based on chat. Last week, well, some things happened, okay? Look, there were some conversations that were had, some propositions were made. I didn't necessarily know what was gonna happen, and, you know, some consequences were experienced, but we are moving on today. Let us hop in, because I'm excited to get going. What am I referring to? Well, let's just say, if you missed what happened last week, then there were at least a couple of very significant things that went on.
You answered the letter. Now, like me, you are a part of this place.
Okay. So I thought we got a free building upgrade previously. Just make sure that there isn't something else, an additional free upgrade that we're missing out on here. Did it? Did it save the most recent changes that we made? I think so, because we're pretty much out of the crests. So I imagine that is not a coincidence. But how's it going, Ryu? How are you? We had, I think when we last had you here, in chat that is, that you had created a character, but we had not yet played any dungeons with said character. Well, your character has indeed seen a dungeon, and things have happened. Okay, the game constantly autosaves. Gotcha. Your character has seen some things. He's, to put it mildly. So, well, also, I think you were quite stressed, and then we had you in town to relieve stress, and then you insisted on staying in town, and you're finally de-stressed now, but I forget where exactly we left off with regards to our preparations for the next upcoming dungeon. Because, let's see, last time we had Core went out, and he is now our highest level, or at least most experienced, of all of our adventurers. But he's actually surprisingly completely stressless. Then other people who just went out, Cam, who is almost, relatively low on the stress. Could certainly still take her out. We have a few unnamed characters, new additions to the team. Those including our new Hellion, who went out for a single mission and is just a little bit stressed, so could certainly take her out for the next go-round if we'd like as well. Ryu, as we said, you're completely de-stressed right now, so we could bring you back out. And then our bounty hunter remains unnamed and is slightly stressed. Jer, we do have a bit of a competition, if you want to call it that, between our abominations. So we do have two of those, but Jer is also primed and ready to go. Anor, doing relatively okay from a stress standpoint. And I am as well. Okay, so I think this might be an opportunity. My week's been going well. Outside of the realm of Darkest Dungeon, but just recently learned that I will be revealing a new card for a Gwent, the Witcher-themed card game expansion that's coming out next week, so I'm very much looking forward to that. That is, you know what? It's one of those things that as a player of a game, you're always like, oh man, if only I could, you know, go out there and show people something new firsthand. Be the go-to person for all that stuff, and to get that opportunity has been, I hope, gonna be really cool. I just hope that I can make it a compelling reveal. So looking forward to that. But outside of that, you know, the usual, I suppose. As for prep, though, prep for this dungeon, I think we might just hop out here, and we have our Arbalist just got a ridiculous amount of stress last time out. Just barely probably avoided a breaking point there. But she's hanging out, relieving some stress right now, so hopefully that will address those concerns there. But why don't we embark? Because I think we've done all the upgrading that we could realistically do here. Steelwolf, you may have been one of the ones to bite the dust last time around, but okay. Steelwolf has come back and has said, all right, Lids, name another character after me. Well, we do have several characters in our team right now who remain unclaimed. We have a bounty hunter. We have an Arbalist, and we have a Hellion. Those are, I believe, let me just double check, the only three we have at the moment who remain unclaimed. So to talk in greater depth, the Bounty Hunter is, well, I mean, it's assassin's maybe not quite the right word. Last one I mentioned, the Hellion. She basically has this humongous halberd, or I don't know, looks like kind of like a halberd of sorts, that she can slash people with from either close or long range. She has some flexibility with where she is positionally. Big axe, understandable. Understandable. Yeah, and we've done actually a fair bit now of upgrading our characters from a both skill level and just skill availability standpoint. So that includes Steelwolf's character here. Let's make it official now. Steelwolf. Okay, great. Nice. You'll love to see it. Okay, so I was thinking we would look to go out on our next dungeon and probably continue to use some of our relatively new people here, because I think for the most part we want to try to spread the love around a bit and not just focus on using the same people over and over again, because sure, they'll get strong, but they might get a little bit overpowered, and then on the other side of things, when those people get stressed and we can't use them in the next dungeon, or if one of them does end up dying, then suddenly we have to resort to using people who have basically no experience at all, and so that's probably not a situation we want to find ourselves in. So, with that in mind, why don't we hop out here? And what is this? This looks very daunting. The way that it is moving like that, it's unsettling. And also the fact that it's a skull. Kill the Necromancer Apprentice. A Necromancer is performing unspeakable rituals in the shattered halls of your ancestral home. It must be stopped. This looks like a boss fight. It looks like a boss fight. Possibly the first boss fight. Characters will also refuse to go on missions if they're too high level. Okay, that's good to know as well. If they're too esteemed of an adventurer to bother. I see. Ooh, okay. But if we do this, I mean, I imagine this will be possibly our most difficult encounter thus far, outside of, you know, the one thing that happened last week. And, but the rewards hopefully are quite good. Hell's Hairpin, Hellion only, so we could put that on Steelwolf. Very rare. Plus 10% crit chance if torch is low. Accuracy if torch is low. Reduce debuff resistance, though, and reduce bleed resistance. So it's only... it's very effective if we're doing a low light run. It's usually not something that we are deliberately doing, but it does happen on occasion. So I'm not really sure how much use that would be to us. So you have to live dangerously to do that. But boss fights are always grueling. Yeah, it seems like from our impromptu experience last time round that it is a bit of a grind, and if things go wrong, things can go horribly, horribly wrong. But you do need to play a much more patient game. It's not going to be a matter of, you know, hit a single enemy once and it goes down and you're just prioritizing which ones you target first. No, it's going to take a lot longer than that. So that may mean that we'd want to bring out some stronger characters for that if we were to go that route. Alternatively, let's just see what our other options are. We have a longer dungeon, but it's not a boss fight. That's medium. Actually, both of these, I think, said medium. We've only done short dungeons thus far. So that is worth considering. In this case, rewards-wise, also a Hellion upgrade. Traditional maximum HP, but reduced stun resistance, so that's also something that we could potentially put on Steelwolf if we were to get this. This feels like it's at least more likely to be something that we would use. So that intrigues me a bit. And if we go back to the Weald, we have an Occultist? I don't think that we do. Crit chance versus Eldritch, damage versus Eldritch. I mean, no downside, which is pretty unusual from the trinkets that we've seen thus far. But it is pretty niche. It only works against a specific type of enemy. But okay. So that's an option. Then I assume these are all... I expected these to be just longer versions. You know, a medium length and a long length. What's this one? Antiquarian. Extra dodge, we do not anymore have an antiquarian. Grave robber, plus 2 speed. Did we recently pick up a grave robber? I think there was one at the wagon, but we decided not to recruit them. At least not yet. So that's not yet a relevant thing either. It's all explore. Oh, wait, hold on. Explore 90% of rooms. Explore 90% of rooms. Okay, so no differences in objectives. This one, we need to kill the Necromancer Apprentice. That's the boss fight. And this one is complete 100% of battle rooms. We've actually had some luck with these types of encounters in the past, where the possibly only other dungeon we had that had this criteria, the first major room that we went into was a battle room. We completed it, and then the dungeon was technically done. We were like, oh, okay, well, I mean, we could leave if we wanted to. We did stick around a little while longer, but we also have unlocked the Cove. Recently, we've not yet tried that. It's an Arbalest item for additional crit chance and no downside, which is kind of nice. And this is more difficult in this area, the Warrens, so that's probably not something that we're about to jump into, even if it is technically still unlocked. So we have options. What is this? We have a ton of options. What do we feel like doing? Why don't we take a look? Because some characters have specific strengths or weaknesses like this in certain areas. So I'm good in the Warrens, for example. Oh man, and a bunch of these things are getting locked in. Then again, supposedly one of my downsides, one of my negative quirks will get replaced next time a new one pops in, and it might mean that it's a not as bad quirk, which would be kind of nice, because I have some pretty nasty ones. Anor, any specific places she likes? The Warrens, but that I think was the one that we were saying we are unlikely to do. Yeah, okay. So maybe we wait on Anor. Jer doesn't care where we go. Bounty Hunter dude likes the Cove and likes the Weald, but believes he's possessed by demons. If we were to go to a place where we encounter demons, which I'm not sure we know quite enough to know where that would be, then that might backfire on us. Ryu, you also like the Cove. You like things to be more well lit. Cam, also, we have tons of people who like the Cove. Tons of people who like the Cove. Steelwolf, doesn't like Eldritch, but doesn't care about where we go. Okay, what's up, Jer? How's it going? How are you? Jer, we may take you out on this next one. Let's see. So, I mean, you and Cam are kind of just in a very similar boat here. We've both, I think, we've taken both of you out once before. You're both abominations. You both have roughly the same amount of stress. There's not much to differentiate between you two at the moment. But maybe we have you hop in here. Skills-wise, you guys have the... Oh, yeah, I think you all have access to the same skills. For some reason, the abominations, they don't vary from one to the next. Okay. So we could bring you along here. I think we established what your preferred spot is. Second or third, actually. Sometimes third is even better for you. And Core, we have recently given the Duelist Advance ability, which allows him to move up a spot. So that could be a decent synergy with having him in the third spot, Jared in the second spot. Because if Jared doesn't care if he's in the second or third, Core can switch places with him, and that won't slow us down at all. And Steelwolf, you really want to be in the front. Yeah, okay. So we don't want Core to advance that far that he takes your spot there, in all likelihood. Then we need someone in the back. We were also talking about bringing Ryu. But that's a bunch of people who want to be in the front. It does complicate matters. Could we put Core in the very back? Don't think he likes it very much. We can do Pistol Shot. We cannot do Grape Shot Blast. We can still do Duelist Advance. We can't do Open Vein, but it could mean we could stay in the back, use Duelist Advance to hop up one spot, and then suddenly he's in the middle, and it becomes an option to go Pistol Shot. That feels dangerous, because we won't have every option available to us right at the beginning there. What's up, Embarrack? How are you? Just selecting our team here, trying to figure out what the right mixture is, because we're looking for somebody to take the back row, I think, which has sometimes been Anor, and she is low enough on the stress that that could be an option here. Bounty Hunter? Nah, he needs to be somewhere more in the front, it seems. The Arbalest was another one, and she's not having a good time right now. She is not having a good time, so I think it probably is Anor. Not really sure we have a great alternative. Other than Core can kinda do it, but it's not ideal. If you have Log Champ, I did add a new one. I did add a new emote this stream for the Yeast Lock, if you want to call it that, experience that we had last week. Okay, so I mean, Core is our most experienced character, so I think maybe we don't need to bring him. Maybe we've established Jer can go in the 3rd spot, and Ryu, you can go in the 2nd, I believe. That works. That works. This works. This does not work. We can't intimidate if you're in the 2nd spot. Can Steelwolf go in the 2nd spot? I thought there's one ability that he can't use there. Cannot use Iron Swan. He's in the 2nd spot. But he could use everything else. So yeah, I think we're more likely to want this than we are to want Ryu's Intimidate, I think. So yeah, it's basically like a taunt, I think. So yeah, I think this looks okay. We'll have, I think it's a ton of damage. Some healing from Anor, and Jer can heal himself and de-stress himself with Absolution. So for that reason, I think it's reasonably well-rounded. We might need Steelwolf to provide AoE, so I'm not sure too many other people can do that, and for him it's a double stun, which slows him down, but it is still valuable. Okay, Hugh can also hit at least the front 2 rows, so however, hold on. There's a rows we can target on the enemy side of things. Steelwolf can hit front 2, can hit back 1, Steelwolf, okay, can still hit the 3rd spot as well, so yeah, Steelwolf can hit everything. Ryu can hit front 2 and only really front 2. Jer, I think when he's in the 3rd row, Manacles, the targeting is a little bit different. He can hit, might only be able to hit front 2 when he's in the 3rd row. So Jer might be a little bit limited. Beast Bile hits middle 2. Okay, my concern is, do we have enough to hit the back row? Because Ryu can't do that. Anor can with Judgment. It's not a huge damaging move, but it does heal her a little bit. She can't stun in the back row either. I did not remember that. Okay, this might still work. Yeah, we unlocked a little bit for, actually, we did a lot for Steelwolf's character. We did a little bit for Core with the Duelist Advance. And we might have done 1 or 2 more as well. So we did experiment with that a bit. I think we might have for the Arbalest. But, I think now we have the team, we have the order. We didn't really come to a conclusion on the location. We had some people who liked the Coves. We haven't been there yet, so that makes me a little nervous bringing a new team there. But, the group we're actually bringing here, we do have Ryu who likes the Coves because of the reduced stress. But that's really the only person that cares. So we might be able to do anything. What if we do... I feel like we might go back to the Weald. So we haven't gone too far in there yet. And it's not brand new like the Cove, where we might want to bring a little bit more of an experienced team, or at least 1 or 2 more experienced characters there. So we have someone to fall back on if things get a little bit spotty. So I think we do this. Explore 90% of rooms, take the old road into the wood, and then pick up any of the dozens of dark paths. Test that path, and then return with your heads intact, hopefully. So we have one that we liked the reward for the most. I mean, we don't have any of these types of characters, so the answer is basically no. Unless there's a specific type of resource, bust versus deed versus bust that we want the most, but I'm not really sure that's the case. So I think we just jump in. I think we get this thing started. Some heroes do not have all their combat skills equipped. Ryu and Steelwolf, hold on. Hold on. Cancel that. Cancel that, just a minute. Ryu and Steelwolf do not have all their abilities equipped. Oh, I must have clicked them and deactivated them, which is not good. That would be bad. That would have been bad. Okay. I think everyone's good now. I think everyone should be good. Okay. Much better. So, trying to recall what we learned previously from the Wield. I think we saw still some instances in which shovels are helpful. Well, actually, before we even talk about which consumables are necessary, we know we need food. We are going to want at least 8, but probably more like 12. If not even more. And then, similarly on the torch side of things, at times when I'm in the party, I do have one ability that allows us to increase our torch light. But that is not the case here, as I'm not in this group. So I think we do want to be somewhat aggressive on our torch inclusion. And I think this was a small... Was this a small dungeon? Or is this a medium dungeon? It's short. Okay. So, that should be plenty. And this is enough food for 2 starvation events plus 1 round of healing for everyone, or 3 starvation events if that's going to happen, but that seems pretty unlikely. Then, outside of that, the other consumables, the things that we expect to run into in the Wield. We saw, I think we still ran into some encounters where we needed a shovel. I think that was still the case. So that should be useful. Oh, other thing, just came to mind here, was trap disarmaments. Is anyone good at that? Steelwolf's okay at it. And that's the best we're gonna do, is Steelwolf being okay at it. So hopefully that's not a huge factor, but it's probably gonna pop up at some point, right? So there's that. I think we saw some instances of venom. I think we want to nab at least a couple of those. Did see at least a couple instances of bleeding as well. Might want some bandages for that reason. And then the other stuff, I don't remember as much between this area and other areas that we've been to in the past. So I know holy water we've used on 1 or 2 prior occasions, but was that here or was that in the first location that we went through? It might have been. So, I mean, maybe it's worth picking it up just to play it safe, some of these things. Then again, our inventories are going to start to get pretty fully loaded with just consumables. And going to be a little bit harder to get all the loot. But, if I use this... Oh, we did not nab any shovels. At least get 1, if not arguably even 2. This might do. This might be good enough. I get another shovel just in case. Okay, now we'll go. Now we will go. Poisonous traps, indeed, we have seen in this area. That much I do remember. Okay.
I knew all these paths once. Now they are as twisted as my own ambitions.
Okay, so let's get going here. So we have Steelwolf will be on his second journey. Ryu, second journey. Jer, second journey. Anor, she is the veteran of this group. She is a healer, so she's not really going to carry the team from a damage standpoint, but hopefully if things start to get a little bit rough, she can help heal us. And Jer can relieve his own stress and heal himself as well, so that should help too. What do we know about our map? Oh. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Why do we have to start in the middle, man? Come on, don't make us backtrack through half the dungeon here. I mean, I guess we go to the left and then double back, because we have to explore 90% of the room, so it's not like we can just skip some of this stuff. I mean, we could potentially skip that room right there, but that's nothing compared to the backtracking we're going to have to do here. So, yeah, I think it's here. Double back, and then go through this way, and we can skip 1 room, probably. on this side of the dungeon. And that's because of all the backtracking we're going to need to do. Good thing that we packed a lot of torches, but that could be a factor. We might, at a few points in time... Not see, now this is short either. At a few points in time, we might need to drop kind of low on the light, because just how much walking we're going to have to do is going to lower our torch level quite a bit. So... that will need to be considered, and no scouting here either. What is this? Okay. Someone dropped this recently, probably on the run. It has a lock on it. I was debating whether it was worth trying to get a key. Purchasing one of those from the shop before we headed out. And presumably that would have meant we could have pretty much guaranteed we would have lucked out here. What we get for cool-lighting into the dungeon, I don't even know what that means. I'm not even going to pretend to know what that means. I have no idea. Should we... other than, oh yeah. Should we attempt to get it? I mean, I think we pass for now. And then, because, I mean, we're going to be back here later on, right? We will be doubling back. What we can do is we can see if we head back all the way down this way and don't run into anything too bad, we head once again over to this location, and by then we don't have much in the way of damage or stress. Maybe at that point we're feeling okay about it and we can go for it, take that risk, but we don't yet know how bad this dungeon is going to be, so let's wait for the time being. And Prodigy, thanks for the follow. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Just getting started with our first dungeon today. Think we'll pass on this for now, but we might get it when we double back, because we will have the chance to do that. Okay, we also have no scouting, so we have no idea what's going to happen once we get through here. We are still on 82 light. Is it a battle? It is not a battle, and we do get scouting. Okay. Ooh. A fair bit of scouting, no less. Ooh. Wow. Trap right off the bat. Once we start going the other direction. Not a lot of room battles, but there is this battle here. Several curios, and an obstacle over here as well. Okay. Okay, definitely good to know. Definitely good to know. Alright, so as I said, I think we need to be careful with our light because there's so much backtracking and the dungeon is actually pretty big for a short dungeon. We are probably going to need to run this a little bit on the low side, at least at one point in time or another. The best time to do it might be once we've cleared out going through this entire direction, on our way back, when we know that we won't run into any additional battles, that might be the time to do it because we'll still get stress from walking through the dark, yes. However, we shouldn't have the same kind of risk of going to battle and having enemies potentially hit us with higher crit chance and what have you. Ah, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah! And breaking through the room? Of course, I should have known. Okay, so we're gonna see the curio, and then we're gonna see the battle. So do we torch this soon, or do we might do this battle on slightly low light? This is it. Oh, ooh. This was a thing that we did before. And there was a way to guarantee that we don't get the downside of this, and it might have been anti-venom, but I'm not 100% sure. Huge hole in the trunk. It might have been anti-venom. Let's try. It does work. It does work. Anti-venom is the solution there. We get an extra bandage. We did load up on some of those. That's maybe not the thing that we needed most, but we get an extra torch. That's not bad. We were just talking about how we are perhaps going to be running a little bit low on the torches in this encounter. In this dungeon, we're down to 64, though. What does that mean? Effects-wise, this might be kind of a happy medium. Monsters do have an extra chance of crit, but we have a very good chance to surprise them. We have some extra dodge chance. It's not like we have crazy downsides yet. What's up, Anor? How are you? How's it going? You are in this party right now, Anor. You are the veteran of the group, the most experienced member of this team right now. So it is getting a little dark, but because we have so much ground we need to cover here, and we have to do a ton of backtracking, we have to go down this way and then double back to get over here. We might need to be a little bit cautious with our... oh, you've been here for a while. You know what we're talking about. You know what we're talking about. Do we torch now? I think we can get away with this. For this encounter specifically. Especially because we've encountered these ectoplasms before. They are surprised. They don't have a lot of HP. We should be doing okay here, I think. Anor, you will go first. You have Judgment. This is your primary damage dealing skill, and I think we're just trying to take out these guys before they even go. Should be able to do that. We have much better damage, I think, for the front 2 rows than we do for the back rows. I mean, there's only 2 enemies here, so that's probably not a factor, but I think for that reason, Anor, you prioritize the one in the back, and you can almost take it out with 1 hit. So that's definitely useful. And you know what we could do? We could even have Steel Wolf stun these guys. What if their speed? Their speed is 1. Maybe we have Steel Wolf stun these guys. I mean, we don't have to do any healing, but it does give Jer a little bit of time to relieve stress. It's just a free opportunity to relieve stress, at least for 1 character. So that's kind of nifty. I think we go for it. Go for the stun. 1 resisted, though. It is the one that has less HP, though. So I think what we do is we have Jer. Jer, you're gonna Absolution. You don't need the healing, but why not relieve some stress? Because I think we have the opportunity to do that. That just gets you into a little bit of a healthier place. So now with Ryu, I think we go for the one that's on low HP here, because this will be our last chance to attack it before it takes its turn. I mean, we could try to stun you once again. Do you have a stun ability? You can also relieve your own stress. But I think we do need to attack this guy, otherwise he is going to get the chance to hit us. So we could even heal and hit both. How much damage is this? It's 4 to 7. It's 75% accuracy. We might just be looking for the highest chance to hit here. It's 75 no matter what. So yeah, I think we might as well heal, because if it hits, it's enough damage regardless. And it is.
Give them no quarter.
There's the stun. And that's why we had the time to probably once again go for the stress relief here, at least on Jer. And then Steel Wolf is going to be slower after using the stun on the previous turn, as that does slow him down a bit. But I think we can probably still rely on Anor, who is... Oh, actually, she's a little bit slower than Jer. Jer is our fastest character here. Ryu is not that speedy, but neither is this guy, so I'm not sure who's going to win the race between Ryu and the Ectoplasm, but Anor should outspeed him. So I think that means that if we're relying on Anor to get the killing blow here, which I think we can do, then Jer, you might have 1 more chance to just relieve a little more stress, and it's a crit stress relief as well. So that's really useful. Here is Anor's turn. So now I think we do use the Judgment, and it is, if it hits, guaranteed to kill. So there it is. Nice.
Destroy them all.
Okay, so there, our first battle, not a tough battle at all.
Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Then again, overconfidence is a slow and insidious killer, but we actually got the chance to relieve stress from that encounter more than anything, so that's definitely a good sign. I think, again, given the lack of enemies here, we'll keep the lights low for the time being. So we know we're not going to encounter anything here. Then we're not expecting anything bad over here either. There is some loot to be had, potentially. Anor is a kleptomaniac, for what it's worth. We are also low enough light now that we're going to get some additional loot, which is one other reason why we could benefit from that stuff. So, I'm not really sure it matters who we have looting this, other than the fact that Ryu has, I think, both the most HP and the least stress, and you also have the ability to heal yourself and heal your stress, so might as well have it be you. But the sack is empty. Could have been worse. Here is the obstacle. We do have a shovel.
Yourself a victim to the spreading corruption.
We have 2 shovels. We'll definitely use one here.
With misintent.
But we're very much hoping that we don't run into too many more of those, because if we do, we don't know definitively if there's going to be another one over here, but I mean, we've seen about half of the dungeon, at least we've scouted at least half of the dungeon here, so that is a good sign. It is getting quite dark now, of course. We don't think there's going to be anything in here. No scouting, but this might be the time. This might be the time for us to, did I cleanse I might have cleansed the kleptomaniac. The kleptomania. I think you're right. Yeah, we cleansed it from you. I still have it, but you do not. That's a good point. Okay, so I think now is probably the right time for us to light things up a bit. Well, then again, on one hand, we did not get scouting, so we don't know what we're going to run into here. On the other hand, if there isn't a battle here, this is the best time for us to go torchless, because we know we can walk back safely through this entire area, because we've cleared everything out. It is a long way to walk without the torches, but as we were saying, We are probably going to need to go low on torches at some point in time. What is our torch count at present? Have we used any? I suppose we haven't used any yet. So we might as well at least pop one here. Might as well at least do that. Okay, we know there's a curio. Once again, I think that makes the most sense for Ryu here, as the most HP and the least stress. And this time, oh, we actually got a decent amount of monies from that. That's not bad. Okay. So yeah, any other insights here? Not really. Again, no scouting. We might run into a battle. We are on pretty low HP, or rather, pretty low light here. So, why don't we pop one more of these? No, okay. Honestly, might be worse than a battle, because that's our last shovel. So that is not something we want to see. We've seen one of these before. It is technically a curio, but I'm not sure we've encountered one of these before. Mummified remains. Body looks well preserved. This feels like a really bad idea to try to loot this. This feels like it would go horribly wrong if we don't have the certain item that dispels whatever downside there might be to this encounter. And I don't know, the thing that comes to mind would be maybe something like holy water, but we don't have any of that. I mean, what else do we have? Medicinal herbs? Doubt it. Anti-venom? Doubt it. Bandages? Doubt it. I think we might just pass on this one. And avoid taking that risk. So this is the last area down this route. We don't know what's in here. It might be a battle, and our light is somewhat low. But it is not. It is not. So now I think, now we're looking at just taking the walk back, and we do have a couple of curios that we passed on. We were asking ourselves, maybe what we do is we wait and see how do things go on our way down here. Do we take a bunch of damage, take a bunch of stress, in which case definitely don't want to mess with those curios, but if it turns out that maybe things go pretty smoothly, then we might be more willing to take those risks. And we haven't run into too many issues thus far. That doesn't mean that it won't go horribly wrong, but we could potentially give it a shot. What was the other one over here? Forget, this was like a locked chest, I think, whereas this is... I mean, locked chests could still be trapped. It might seem a little more innocent, but I'm not sure that it is, even though this one might initially have appeared, so let's go for it. Let's try it. We resisted it. Don't worry, we resisted it. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. So now here's the thing. It's getting dark, and people are getting very stressed. Understandable. But this would be the best time for us to go low light, because at present... Wait, suddenly there's a battle here? That can change? Battles can appear when they weren't there previously? That's the first time we've seen that. Oh, that is very, very good to know. I did not realize that was going to be a thing. Okay, that is definitely a reason to raise the light again. Probably going to drop, yeah, below 75 by the time we actually get to this encounter, but I think we'll still be okay. This time, it's a bunch of the bugaboos, but we have surprised them. Lids, technically, they are arthropods. They are not insects. Look, okay, you're right. Fair enough. But we have surprised them. They are quick, so they will definitely outspeed us when they are not surprised. But we do have a chance to get the first hit in here. They have low HP, 7 apiece. I think Anor, for the most part, is, yeah, unlikely to get enough damage to finish any of them off, unfortunately. She can stun. Oh, and actually her stun... I did not realize her stun deals so much damage, and it actually raises light as well. Whoa. Okay, hold on. We should be using this more often, it seems. And... we have a preference in terms of which one we stun here. This one technically has 1 less speed, so maybe that's slightly lower priority. Then again, the enemies in the back we've said are typically more difficult for us to deal with, so maybe we do target you after all. No, we don't want to see that, though. That's definitely not a good sign. Jer, you can stun, similarly, and I think now it is perhaps more important than ever. Go for that. Decent damage. They resist the stun, though. That's not a good sign. Let's see. Ryu can double hit, and it's on the high end enough to one-shot, but it would need to be a perfect roll. Definitely enough damage on the single target skill, but accuracy in both cases is low. It's 60 here. It's 60 here as well. So maybe we go for the double and just assume that one of them is likely to miss, but we have a greater chance of at least getting some damage on one of the enemies, right? Except they both dodge. Oh, okay, well, Steel Wolf, I think we're going for the stun here on the front two guys because we have struck out big time here. And the stun does work at least on those guys, but this one will get a chance to take a turn here. And Anor takes the hit. She resisted any of the bad status effects, fortunately. But I think now these guys are going to be difficult to stun. We might be looking at trying to finish off this spitter back here, which we can do.
Is broken. Maintain the offensive.
Okay, Anor, you took a little bit of damage, so we might be looking at a judgment here, especially because these guys are harder to stun. So your stun ability, probably not the best idea in this case. They dodge again! And they're targeting Anor non-stop. But she's marked. So they're going after her. This time she dodges, though. Okay, we need to help out Anor here. So, let's see. We have, for Steel Wolf, Wicked Hack. 5 to 10 damage is likely to be enough. Alternatively, if it bleeds, with the bleed chance, lower damage, but the bleed damage is 2 points, which technically means that only the minimum roll would be insufficient, whereas in this case, it's actually a higher range, a higher probability that this does not deal enough damage. So I think we do go for if it bleeds. These guys have 20% bleed resistance. I think that's probably okay. Or we'll just kill it all together.
Impunity.
Okay, Ryu. This time I think we probably just go for the direct damage. But it dodges once again. Okay, Jer does go first, though. And stuns. And that suddenly may buy us a little bit of time here. Now, what would we like to do with that time? Ryu could potentially heal or relieve stress. Jer can do that as well, but Jer has already used up his turn. Anor could heal herself. But the timing is odd. Anor has not yet gone. Nor has Ryu. So what we might do here is we might deliberately go for the stun with Steel Wolf. Even though this guy has stun resistance, we're really not looking to actually stun. We're mostly just looking to have Steel Wolf bide some time here, not kill this enemy, so that Anor hopefully outspeeds Ryu, can heal herself, and then Ryu finishes the job. That's the plan, at least. Yeah, there's the resist. We expected that to be the case. But here's Anor's turn. We can do a party heal, but I think Anor's the only one who's taking damage. So we might as well have Anor target herself specifically, which can she do? Yes, she can. Okay, so she's back up to full HP. So Ryu has has not had the greatest of accuracy thus far. And that trend continues. That trend does continue. But Jer can bail us out here. Okay, there we go. And the crit even reduces a little bit of stress for him. So that's a good sign. Okay.
This expedition at least promises success.
There is a holy water. Oh, wasn't that... We tried out an encounter where we were saying maybe we wanted a holy water, but we've already explored, investigated that curio. Oh, hunger. Okay, so this is our first one. And although we are making our way back toward where we started, we are functionally... I guess it's kind of hard to say how far we are percentage-wise. We've explored about 50% of the dungeon, but we started to double back, so we're probably a little bit more like... Maybe not quite 2/3. But obviously, we're using the food. We don't really need the healing, I don't think. So it's kind of a missed opportunity there. If this was the the item in question. Or no, we tried raiding that before, but we didn't get anything. Okay, so it's a little bit darker, but once again, we're probably not expecting anything here. Then again, we've recently learned that it actually is possible for enemies to spawn in areas that previously they were not in before. Okay, so this is the curio that we passed on previously. One that was locked, and we said maybe we wait to see how we're feeling once we get back over here and see how much damage and stress we've taken. And Ryu, I think, remains undamaged and unstressed. So I think we might be willing to take this chance. And it pays out for us here.
With loot,
Torches,
low on supplies.
a little bit of gold, a bunch of crests, and a journal page. I think the crests are probably the big thing there. It's a lot. Okay, and let us continue here. What? No! Oh no. That's not good. That's not good. We have enough for it, don't get me wrong, but that's 2 in quick succession. That is not a good sign. That is definitely not a good sign. Okay, so we have enough for one more hunger situation. Did we not actually take it? I thought we did. Oh, we did not. You are correct. We did not. Is it still possible to take it? I'm not sure that we can anymore. I think it might be gone now. I did not realize that. I thought that we did. I really thought that we did, and now it appears as though it has disappeared, truly. My bad. Well, at least no downside there. We attempted to loot it. We successfully looted it. Obviously, we would have liked to have taken those things. I wanted to take those things, but at least it wasn't a, additional stress, damage, or some kind of negative quirk. What we do know is if we head this way, we are going to run into a trap very quickly. Hit the X instead of looting it. Okay. Disarmed. Okay, also, I think technically Steel was supposed to be the one to disarm, but Ryu successfully pulled it off, so that's a good sign. But what really concerns me is the lack of food, because we have enough for one more food situation, but we still have a decent percentage of the dungeon remaining here, and if we get more hunger situations in quick succession like that, we could be in a lot of trouble. So we aren't expecting battles until that room there, so I think we'll light things up once we get there. Okay, this is another anti-venom situation. Do we have another anti-venom? Is the question. We do. We do. Are we willing to use it here, or do we feel like we should wait in case there are other times when it is more of a need? We are very unlikely to double back here, technically speaking. We will probably go here, and then double back to this room, and then from here we could just take a quick step out, because that's the door right there, and poke our head over here. So we could wait a little bit longer just to see, but I guess, it is a certain thing. It is a certain opportunity to get the value out of it, so I guess we'll go for it. And this time we will definitely take all. No, we'll just close. No, we won't close it. We will not close it this time. Okay, so we know there's a battle in the next room. Let's light things up a bit before we head in, because this will be a battle. Okay, I'm not sure we've seen these guys before. The Fungal Scratchers. What's their deal? They're slow. A lot of resistance to blight. Easy to hit them. They have some damage protection. Oh, also these guys, the Fungal Artillery. 19 HP from these guys. They're the same. Yeah, they're the same. These guys, 14, still somewhat tanky. Less protection. These guys are Eldritch, for what it's worth. Which, we have some people to whom that matters. Come to think of it. Okay, Steelwolf does not like the Eldritch. Ryu doesn't care. Jer doesn't care. Anor doesn't care. Okay, so Steelwolf has a bit of an issue with them. Hopefully that won't be a problem. But For Jer, I'm assuming that, as is usually the case, these guys in the back are gonna primarily be stress stealers, whereas these guys in the front are primarily gonna be damage dealers. We do have some people who can relieve stress, so we have a decent team when it comes to countering that, but still probably harder to deal with that than it is to heal. So I think we do prioritize stunning you with the manacles. And it's successful, so that's a good sign. A Nor we've recently realized can also stun, although for her, she cannot hit the back enemy, whereas she can hit it if we're just talking about straight upfront damage. So we might still want to go for the stun here. Or at least try. Not a ton of damage, and they resist the stun. No! Okay, Steelwolf dodges. That one's stunned. Steelwolf goes, and Steelwolf can now stun both these guys. This one's already taken its turn in this round. This one has not. So this might still be a good time to do that. Alternatively, we do have Iron Swan, which is one of our best ways to hit the enemy in the back here. Is it pure damage and nothing else? That might be all. This guy is not yet gone. We don't have enough damage to take him out unless we crit. He has a reasonably high crit skill, but I'm still not sure that's really something we can be relying on here. We might want to go for more of a sure thing by starting off with a stun. I think that is probably still the way to go, because that's big. Okay, if it's just a mark, oh well, Steelwolf dodges, so that's big as well. Okay, so now we have a little bit of time. These guys have both taken their turns. This guy has not yet gone, but is stunned, and this guy will be stunned in the next round. So this could either be a Hugh situation to hit both of them for 3 to 5, or it could be a Chop situation, hit one of them for 5 to 9. Yeah, that is some decent damage mitigation. I think we also saw that Ryu deals less damage on the first turn. Yeah, so that might also be a bit of a factor here. You've taken a tiny bit of damage. So I don't think either of these guys are really in removal range. We might just be looking for a Hugh in that case. Weaken them both a bit. Try to get them in removal range. There's the stun we were talking about. And Jer goes first here. These guys do still have stun resistance. Whereas, the stun does not carry over from one round to the next. Okay, so if we want to stun, we're going to need to hit you again and succeed once again. Jer, can you hit in the back with your stun? No, you cannot. Okay, so we might... Oh, no, you are still stunned. We're talking pure damage. Well, they do have resistance to blight, don't they? So I'm not even sure if Beast Bile is going to be the right answer for us. It might still mean we're going for this, even if technically you aren't resistant to stun, even though you are currently stunned. I'm not sure if we can double stun you. I doubt that's a thing. So, let's just look at the numbers for Beast Bile. It heals them. We should definitely not do that. Confirmed. We should definitely hit them with the manacles instead. And maybe they have resistance to stun, but I think we still... see, they're both of the same resistance, so... I don't know, maybe we try hitting this one. Get a little bit of damage, and it is still stun. It does still land. It does still work, so that's useful, for sure. And then you still have stun resistance as well. I mean, for Nor, we have a little more flexibility. We could go with the judgment damage, and that one is still going to deal damage, not going to heal. So that might be the way to go here. Alternatively, can't stun the back one, unfortunately. So it might just be a judgment here on probably this guy. This guy's stunned, so he's not as much of an immediate threat, and also this one has slightly less HP, so we're more likely to be able to take this one out. Okay, and Ryu. And this one has 11 HP. Does that put it in chop range? It technically does, if we get the high roll. Alternatively, we split the damage a little bit between these guys. We're definitely not getting the killing blow, but it helps to weaken this guy a little bit more, because it is probably not in killing range for anybody. But after a Q, it might enter killing range, and this one would be more in killing range for other players as well. Steelwolf is not yet gone. Steelwolf will have a fair bit more damage as well if we want to go that route. Maybe for that reason we do go with the Q and have Steelwolf try to get the finishing blow here. Oh my goodness, no. So many misses, though. Rain of Blight does not sound good. That does not sound like something we want. Both of them have been blighted, and I'm pretty sure that that is what we would have used the anti-venom to cure, and that is why I was saying before that that might have been something that we wanted to hold on to, just in case. But I think now, for Steel Wolf, we might be looking at Wicked Hack. I think that's our highest damage option, which is still not going to be enough to take out this guy. If it bleeds, less upfront damage. Let's see, 3 to 7 versus 3 to 5, but 100% chance to bleed, and it's 2 points per turn for 3 rounds. And so that means that, in truth, this is just more effective, assuming the bleed does hit. It has 20% resistance to it, but I think that is worth giving a shot here. Oh, but it does resist. You're stunned. You will go. Steel Wolf dodges again. We have gotten fairly lucky on those dodges. We do have some characters now that will take some damage from the Blight, both Jer and Anor. But we can stun you once again. And I think that is probably what we'll go for, because the other potential targets for Jer have some resistance, and his other options would heal these enemies. There is a stun. So although you are the lowest enemy right now, we may still focus on others for the time being. Anor, you can heal while dealing damage, and that is probably still the answer here. This one's at 9. Except, the thing is, Ryu's gonna struggle to hit it. And so, Steel Wolf can, but Steel Wolf has a huge speed debuff after using his stun ability. That's the downside of it. And so, chances are that this one's gonna get the chance to go before Steel Wolf goes anyway. So we might just want to go for this one and see if we can get it into removal range for Ryu. That might be the plan. Okay, and I'm not sure if that's going to be enough to make that happen, but it was a crit. Sonor does heal. Ooh, that's not a good sign, though. That is one of the first crits we've taken, I do believe. And if we get a crit, we could return the favor and get the killing blow. Otherwise, it's not going to be enough. We could hew, and hew is, if it hits, reasonably likely to at least get the killing blow on the stunned enemy. That's not a huge deal. So maybe we do just go for the big hit on you. And it is pretty big. That might be the first time that Ryu has hit this entire dungeon. More resistance to Blight, or in Jer's case, it does seem to double down. Okay, so here is Steel Wolf going. And Steel Wolf, you can hit this guy, but at this point, oh, this one has not gone yet. Wow, Steel Wolf did outspeed it, surprisingly. So it's what? It's 3 to 6 damage. It is unlikely to kill. Unless we crit. I think we don't want to rely on that. I think we do want to, at this point, be looking for more of the sure thing. And that probably means we're looking to go after one of these guys. This one technically has more HP. And this is guaranteed to kill if it gets the bleed.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Nice. Not so nice. We'll resist against marked. Okay. So these guys do have some nasty statuses we are certainly seeing. And that is a corpse, which we have not yet determined as to how significant those corpses might be. I think Steel Wolf is finally no longer debuffed for with a lack of speed, so he can be a little bit quicker here. And it might be a rare opportunity to actually go for this guy, but then again, we want to finish people off at this stage, I think. So we're looking at probably a front row Wicked Hack, or you cannot hit that unless we go with the if it bleeds, which I think we might want to do that. I think we might actually want to do that. Between the upfront damage and the bleed, it's possible to get the kill, but this third spot's a little bit tougher for us to reach. So for that reason, I think it might make sense for us to go this route. Bleed, I don't think is quite enough, unfortunately. Jer, we would love to get a heal on him at some point, but Jer, you are also one of the few people who can hit this third spot here. So you might be looking for just a tiny bit of damage here, because it's taken 2 damage per turn from the bleed, so if you hit it, it's gonna die. It will die. Stun doesn't really matter. But Anor, now I think we're looking for you to finish this guy off, and that means this one will survive. This one's dead. That one will die as well.
Unforeseen, unforgiving.
And Ryu, unfortunately, may not have much to do from this spot. Can benefit ever so slightly from a heal. I mean, or could just attack these spores, because we're not really sure what they may or may not do, so I guess we'll heal them. Just in case. It's another mark on an enemy that is... a character that's already marked. And now, at this point, I think what we'll do here, we are going to take a little bit of damage from the Blight still, yes. However, with one enemy remaining and one enemy that is not yet damaged but can be stunned, I think we go for the stun. It also gives us a little bit of light, which might be kind of useful. And then, while it's stunned, we can have people like Jer in particular use his heal ability and relieve some stress as well. I think that's probably what would benefit us the most right now. There is the stun. Steel Wolf is still in a bit of an awkward place. I mean, I suppose you could attack this corpse right here. That does still work. Then, there's the stun. Anti-venom now, Cher says, well, you can heal yourself. Now you can heal yourself. So that's, in part, why we did this. It's not a huge heal, but it does relieve some stress as well. And so now, you could also heal yourself and relieve a little bit of stress. You are not stressed at all, and you're not damaged much either. I mean, this does still have 13 HP, so we might be looking for a chop in that case. Except there's also that. Okay, so it will have stun resistance now, so that's not as much of an answer. So we might just be looking for the pure damage. That is a lot. And for Nor, you have taken some damage, and with the Judgment, you can deal some damage and heal a bit as well. And that actually, if it hits, is guaranteed to kill. We could take our chances here, see if we can get another turn with Jer to heal things off, but if we do that at this point without us stunning this fungal artillery, we risk giving it the chance to hit us one more time, which at this point we probably don't want to let that happen. So I think we just go for it and take it out. A little bit of stress relief for Nor as well. Ooh.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Damage in the first position. Reduce crit chance, reduce speed. That is interesting. Curious if that's going to be worth us using on anybody. But, could we even equip it now? So it'd have to be Steel Wolf if we wanted to. But we could. It would slow him down a bit. He has 4 speed, which is middle of the pack, but he does have that stun ability, which gives him a speed debuff. He does have, I think, about average crit chance on his ability. Some actually are a little bit higher, but I think he has... yeah. He has a negative quirk that reduces his crit chance, so that is holding him back from doing some crits as well. So that might mean that it's worth throwing on. I mean, the 25% additional damage would certainly be a factor, so I think we give it a shot. And so that encounter certainly could have gone more smoothly. Jer's still going to take a little bit more damage over time here. And so he's hurt and a little bit stressed. Steel Wolf took some hits as well. Anor did too, but she healed off most of them. Anor, I think, got some stress. And Ryu, tiny bit of damage, but remains unstressed. Heirloom chest with our family sigil. I mean, I think we just go for it. And we'd probably do it with Ryu, because again, at least has the most HP remaining and has no stress. So if things go horribly wrong like that, the person most capable of taking that damage. So, unfortunate, yes. But we do get scouting. Okay. A whole lot of scouting. In fact, scouting for the entire remainder of the dungeon. So that is very useful. We have curios, we have a trap, we have 1 battle. No battle rooms. So I think, if we go this way, we're gonna have to double back. So for what it's worth, technically speaking, going straight down is the same amount of distance covered, but gives us access to 2 curios, whereas this only gives us access to 1. On the other side of that equation, though, we also run into a trap, we also run into a battle, whereas this side is relatively battle and trap free. Then again, we need to explore 90% of rooms, so that means we can skip precisely 1 room. So we could go down this way and then just completely ignore this room. But if we go this way, then we have to at least continue on to this room. Could always skip out before checking out this encounter. Stress is, I mean, it's still not that bad, to be honest. It's the blight that has become the biggest downside, but I think we're still doing okay here. I think we are actually still doing okay. And we use... No! Oh! That is why I was concerned about those two quick hungers, one right after the other. Because we do have enough for this. But this is going to be our last bit of food here. Technically speaking, we can benefit a bit from the healing for everyone other than Anor. But that is a concerning sign. Because if we do run into another hunger situation, we are going to need to starve. Wow. Okay. Okay then. That could have been a reason to have gone for what is technically the less distance traveled route down there, because it requires less backtracking. But, of course, no way, no other options now. Okay, once again, I mean, technically, it might still be a reuse situation. Okay.
If only treasure could staunch the flow of
we get a tiny bit of food.
Worldly corruption.
Okay, so what happens if we encounter another starvation event, and we have enough food to feed some of the party, but not all the party? Do we still have to choose the starve option, or do we go into this awkward situation where half the party starves and half the party does not? Hunger, not funger, indeed. So that did help us. Okay, I think we can get pretty aggressive with our torches now. Ooh, I was gonna say that, and I realized we actually blew through a fair number of them. Don't have that much more ground to cover, but still. Not expecting anything here. But we will need to backtrack. And we need to get to one more big room. Hunger probably remains the biggest downside if we do run into another one of those situations. We're only expecting one more of the battles. If we go down all this way, and we don't even need to do that, we will need to go through this trap. Technically, we don't have downsides yet. There is this luggage, which we successfully looted previously, but we forgot to actually take the stuff out of it. Now, does that mean that we ought not to tempt fate twice? So I assume this is probably one of the situations where, yeah, because it has a lock on it, you'd ideally have a key to unlock it. Also, do bandages don't actually heal. They only stop bleeding, right? And this doesn't stop blight, does it? It's only the anti-venom. Cleanse and prevent maladies can also be applied to hero to eliminate combat debuffs. Oh! Eliminate debuffs. I didn't remember that. Okay. How are we doing on stress in particular here? And damage? I mean, once again, Ryu is in not bad shape here. Except now it's trapped. And now we're blighted. Okay, I mean, probably, honestly, better than stress, because at the end of this encounter, the end of this dungeon, we can heal off the damage automatically. The stress, we will need to pay to relieve that. And so that's a little bit trickier. Also, hold on. We are, expecting to run into a trap soon. Our preferred trap debuffer, I believe, is Steel Wolf. 30%, 20%, 20%, 20%. Nobody's good at it. And it's pretty close, so you could make the case for having someone else debuff it, or disarm it, just because they have better access to healing and stress relief, or, you know, have more HP available right now, any or all those things. This is really probably the last big thing that we're going to encounter. Ooh. And here it is. And it did not work.
Cruel machinations spring to life.
It is primarily stress.
Purpose.
Steel Wolf resists the debuff, or rather the blight at the very least. But now, and that was
As the
overkill.
light gains purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
All we need to do is walk in here, and we are technically done. Quest complete. We could either continue, or we could venture forward. Let's just take a look at our map here. It's a short distance, but notably there's a curio, there is a battle, and then there's an empty room at the end. So I think we've established that there isn't necessarily anything to be gained just from 100%ing a dungeon. The only reason we would want to go down here was if we felt like maybe going through and nabbing whatever this is from the curio could be useful to us. Maybe we actually want to do the battle because although it doesn't give us extra experience, if we, for example, have some free turns with Jer, we could use his, which ability is it? His Absolution to relieve a little bit of stress. I mean, he's not particularly stressed right now. He's at 14. And then Ryu also has a stress relief ability, but Ryu's at 2, so that's definitely not relevant. If Steel Wolf had a stress relief ability, that could be useful, but he does not. So that's unfortunate, because he's the one that's most in need of it now. Anor, I mean, can heal, yes, but like, as we were saying before, we can heal automatically when we go into town. We do not automatically heal stress. So I think we might want to call it here, because I'm not really sure we're going to benefit all that much more. I mean, there's always a chance that Curio gives us something of value, but then again, we've seen that there are plenty of situations in which we need things like anti-venom or keys to unlock those curios, or at least give ourselves a better chance of not experiencing whatever the downsides of those things might be. And we are, for the most part, out of those right now. Doing okay from a torch standpoint because we don't have much ground to cover. The other concern is that we are only on 2 food. And so we've already had 3 food encounters, 3 hunger encounters. I'm not sure that means that we're any less likely to get another hunger encounter here. I mean, it's only a short distance to travel, but still, I think, you know, it's such a minor upside at the potential cost of a significant downside. If we do get a hunger situation and we have to starve, then that's no good. So I think we cut it off here.
Paths and roads bring soldiers and supplies. Let them arrive unharried.
Okay. So we get a fair bit of consumables here. Okay, between the rewards here and the treasure collected, I think we still netted a bit of a profit, but we get new quirks on everybody. I don't think anyone leveled. But what are the quirks gonna be? Oh dear. So I think Anor has a lot, but everyone else is considerably newer to the team, and so they have not all that many. So things could sway significantly one way or the other depending on how this goes. Steel Wolf, you're first. Ruins Explorer. Plus 10% chance of scouting in the ruins. Sounds good. Sounds very good. Ryu. Manslayer. Plus 10 accuracy versus human, plus 5 crit versus human. That sounds very good as well. Especially because Ryu does not have the best of accuracy at times. Jer. On guard. Plus 4 speed in the first round. That is really useful. Plus 5 dodge in the first round. Amazing stuff thus far. Alright, well, last one. Come on, Anor. Fast healer. Plus 10% healing skills while camping. All around, great buffs for the entire team. I'm loving it. That is great to see.
A ray of sunlight. A beacon of golden hope.
Ooh, look at this. This pleasant weather comes as a welcome change, particularly for those currently enjoying a period of convalescence. So it actually means that all stress relief activities will be more effective this week. And I think for Steel Wolf, that's significant. And in the grand scheme of things, if we only need one person to relieve stress after that dungeon, then I think that is pretty good. I think we had one dungeon last time where we did not have anyone that needed to relieve stress at the end of it, which is certainly a nice luxury to have, but I don't think that's something we're going to be able to rely upon in the future. But if only Steelwolf has to sit out, then that's not too bad. Let's see what else happened here. Nora did level up. Okay, so she was level 1 before, now she's level 2. So she is now, I think, perhaps tied for me as our second most experienced character. And then Core is still numero uno. So let's see. What has happened? Steelwolf, Ryu, Jer, and Anora returned from a successful scouting mission in the Weald. It said it was short. It felt a lot longer than that, though. So Nora leveled up. We will find that stress relief activities are more effective here. That will help Steelwolf, for sure. Then what happens for our Arbalist in the tavern? Had an unforgettable evening and has formed an attachment. New quirk, love interest. Oh, no. Engaged in pleasures of the flesh and recovered 81 stress. So, had a ridiculous amount of stress before, but now still not completely stress relieved, but in a much better place, and it's probably low enough, definitely low enough that we could consider taking this Arbalist with us out on a mission. What is this? We can switch the outfit? What? That's a thing? Amazing. Okay, but we gained love interest. In town, we'll only visit the brothel for stress relief. That sounds really bad. That sounds really bad. Anything that says there is only one way to relieve stress, because that means that it's functionally eliminating, what, like 5 other options? Whereas this removes 2, which is still not great, but, I mean, we'll take the things that remove 1 option over, like this. Or, well, oh no, that just means chance of losing money, but we have some people who are not allowed to gamble. I take that over not only being allowed to relieve stress in one way, for sure. Especially because we might find that that dude might be in that one place in any given point in time, any given week. He's not this time, but the caretaker could be in the brothel, and if that's the only place you can relieve stress, then you're just not relieving stress this week, and that could potentially break a character for 2 weeks in that case, and that's probably not a situation we want to find ourselves in, so that might even mean that we'll need to remove this quirk. That sounds like that's going to be an issue. Does sound like that's going to be an issue. Especially... Well, so Steelwolf should hang out somewhere. All these things are going to get pretty much locked in here. Oh yeah, Steelwolf will only flagellate for stress relief. Okay, well, in that case, Steelwolf is among those who are not doing great when it comes to stress relief. What's up, Core? How's it going? Thanks for the sub. Thanks for the sub. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Core, have you yet gotten the chance? Have you gotten the chance to catch up on what happened last week? Because there's a reason why that new emote that you just used exists. And you may have something to do with it. If Arumi is in chat, then Arumi certainly can explain it, and probably should explain it to you, because, you know, he may have had something to do with it as well. It was an experience, though. It was definitely an experience. And somehow, some way, your character did manage to survive, but oh boy, did somebody want you killed. Okay, so Steelwolf needs to go here. It's the only thing that he will consider doing for stress relief. So it is an expensive one, but it is the one that I think we've upgraded more than anything else. So we'll do it. And we might, after he's done doing that, need to do something to remove some of those negative quirks. And then again, it's going to be difficult to do that. You did not. You did not. You're still here. You are still here. You are now our most experienced character. And we actually upgraded you a bit. I think in a few ways, potentially. Did we upgrade your weapons? We might have. I think we upgraded your weapons once. And then we also gave you a new ability, Duelist Advance, which allows you to lunge forward. If you're in one of the back positions, you can do some damage, advance one position, and then also, from doing that, you gain the ability to riposte enemies, which is new, and gives us the chance to get a little bit of extra damage, so that's a nifty new ability that you have. Okay, But, let's see, what is our... Let's take a look at the stagecoach. Have we filled our roster here? We may have. And we have a new highwayman that is the same class that Core is, so that's maybe not the most urgent of needs. Another bounty hunter. We do have a bounty hunter who we've used once, but probably means that's also not a particularly big need. We do not have an occultist, and I'm not even sure if we've seen an occultist before. We might have gotten an item for occultist in the previous dungeon as well. So let's take a quick look at what the deal is here. So 10% less stress across the board. That sounds great. Low HP, I think, at just 19. Damage 4 to 7 is a little bit on the low side. Enlightened in town will only meditate for stress relief. Don't like that. That's another one of the only relieve stress from one location. That seems like that's really bad. Minus 5% crit chance if HP is below 50%. Obviously, we don't want you to be below 50%, but with just 19 HP, honestly, one hit and you're probably already at that point. So that does concern me a bit. Let's see. Your other stuff. You're terrible at disarming traps. Good at resisting debuffs. What are your skills, though? Sacrificial stab. What? Does that mean you're hitting yourself, damaging yourself as well? Not the best accuracy, I don't think. Not the worst either, but not amazing. Very high crit chance. And huge damage against Eldritch. Okay, I think those enemies who were just fighting the Weald, at least some of them, the fungus enemies, were Eldritch. So that could be a decent matchup there. Then... Weird reconstruction. Heal 0 to 13. Okay. So a huge range, potentially a ginormous heal. Potentially 0 heal. But 60% chance of applying bleed. So does that... Can that work on anybody on the team? Or is that only a self-heal? It looks like that might be something you could do for anybody on the team. Oh, and also this can be in any of the front 3 spots. This can be from anywhere. Yeah, so like maybe use this on somebody who has particular resistance to bleed, but I don't even know if we have anyone. Like I have 50%, Core has 50%, Anora has 60%. Jer 40, 40, 20, 40, 40, 50. So, like, technically healing Anor with that would be the best, because she's the least likely to actually get bled from it, if I'm understanding that ability. But it is a very odd one. Then, Hands from the Abyss. More accurate than the other option. Does need to be in one of the front 2 spots. Less damage, high crit, but has stun. Okay. That's the stun ability, and it reduces Torchlight. Oh, that's kind of scary. Okay. I mean, we of course have seen other abilities, several other abilities that will increase Torchlight, but okay. That could be a nasty surprise if we forget about that. Then Daemon's Pull. What does this do? Also reasonably accurate, fairly low damage, decent crit chance, moves someone closer, clears all corpses as well. Huh. This guy is weird. I'm guessing that when used correctly, that he can probably be a really strong character, but he seems like the kind of character that is really hard to master. But when you do, it works well. It seems like really high risk, high reward. I mean, maybe it's just all RNG. Maybe it's not so much mastery as much as it's just whenever you're using this guy, it is a dice roll. Things like weird construction where it's like, I don't know, maybe we're getting 13 healing, maybe we're getting 0 and bleeding our character. Maybe we're actually hurting ourselves, maybe we're healing ourselves a ton. That part is definitely RNG. But things like... I mean, the stuns we've used a lot, but things like the Daemon's Pull in particular, I suppose, is where I'm getting at. Where, like, clearing out the corpses, is that relevant? Probably sometimes, but it hasn't been too relevant for us just yet. The movements, are there times when doing that movement is going to prevent some enemies from using some of their abilities? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe not. So that's a consideration as well. So, those are characters that we could consider recruiting. We do still appear to have a spot, if that is of interest to us. I mean, like I said, we don't have an occultist, so I feel like it might be worth picking him up just for that reason alone, and it is technically free. Okay, no, it is full. Our barracks is full. So let's just take a look here, because we thought about upgrading our stagecoach on a few occasions, but we haven't done so yet. Or did we upgrade this first one? Increase the number of available heroes to 3. Okay, we did upgrade that. We can increase the roster size to 12. What is it right now? It's full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. So we get 4 more from this. I mean, that is something. We do have some deeds and crests to spare here. Not necessarily sure it's the single best thing to do. We'll probably prefer that to getting a 4th hero option. That might be a little bit overkill at this stage. So, why not?
More arrive, foolishly seeking fortune and glory in this domain of the damned.
Okay. So now we can add this guy to the team, and
To fight the abyss, one must know it.
for the moment, the character will remain with the default name, but of course, let us know if anyone from chat is interested in claiming somebody here. So that's the stagecoach. We have a little bit of resources left that we could use to upgrade things. We have put Steelwolf in stress relief at the Abbey, but I'm not sure that we have too much in the way of urgent needs here. Why don't we check, see if there's anything useful here. Lightstone. Plus 15% light skill chance, but reduces speed. Jer and Cam are 2 abominations, I think. Do they have some skills that can cause blight? We did once upon a time with a character that is no longer with us as well. Doesn't Beast Bile... I mean, it's a 100% chance already. Which may seem like that means it's guaranteed. But remember that basically every enemy has at least some resistance to blight. So it means that if we have, what was it, like 25 or plus 15% blight skill chance, it might actually be more like 100% chance of causing that blight. Or plus 7% crit chance on a Jester, though, and we don't have a Jester, and that is more expensive as well. It is quite expensive, in fact. So we're probably not about to do that. Out of curiosity, what can we upgrade here? I'm not sure we've looked at it. It's purely crests. Increase the number of trinkets available, basically double it. Or reduce the trinket cost. Theoretically, it would be nice to upgrade that before we start purchasing stuff here, so that that does add up over time. So those are the options there, and then guild. Yeah, I think we've done some upgrades here, and these are expensive upgrades as well, so we definitely don't have the stuffs to make that happen. From the blacksmith, we can upgrade the furnace. Reduce the cost of hero weapons and armor upgrades. We have done that once already, but as we were just saying with the shop, it'd be kind of nice to have a few of these upgrades already applied, so that when we do start purchasing those types of things, we aren't having to pay an arm and a leg for them. So this might be the only thing that we can afford at this point. I think we go for it.
A sharper sword, a stronger shield, anything to prolong a soldier's life.
So, I mean, not urgent by any means, but out of curiosity, I mean, maybe we just hold on to our busts and our portraits, which are a little more plentiful at the moment. Okay, so I think we're ready to hop out for our next one, especially because, as we were saying, we fortunately, we only had one character that that got particularly stressed, that being Steelwolf, and he is getting that stress relieved right now. Do we have anyone who has quirks that we want to try to remove? So we still have my Kleptomaniac, but that, the skull next to it, that might be hard to remove. Or's doing okay from a negative quirk standpoint. Honor, we have already removed her Kleptomania. She's probably doing okay there. Jer only has 2 downsides, but I think we were talking about some people who will only relieve one kind of stress, and saying now that might be the kind of thing that we want to get ahead of a bit, because we have a few people who I think fall into that category, like, yeah, the love interest. That seems like that's pretty bad on our Arbalest. We might want to remove that. I'm thinking we might keep our Arbalest in town to remove that. I think that is our work. I mean, of the people who are not busy doing other things, because Steelwolf, I think, also will only flagellate, but he also has the skull next to that. So I think we bring you here to treat a quirk, and I forget how expensive this is. $1,500. It's not too bad. Of curiosity, while we're here, would require a little more crests. Reduces positive quirk treatment costs and reduces negative quirk treatment costs by 10%. I mean, the cost is not that big, but of course, getting this early would be useful. Reduce the cost in the long run. But we cannot afford it. We can just barely can't afford it right now. So, oh well, we should still confirm that though. Should still confirm that we remove the love interest. I'm pretty sure that's going to be worth it. The fact that they're removing the love interest with the syringe, I'm not sure I want to know how that works, but okay. So, I think we're ready now. I think we are ready now. Let's embark. And the Weald is now up level 2, which I think means this is also a boss fight. Kill the wizened hag. Snapped bones and tanned human hides are the spore of a vile cannibalistic hag. For all that is good, destroy her. So we have a boss here. We have a boss here. What happens if we go here? This is a medium-length dungeon that is not a boss fight. Gather 3 medicines? What? That's different. We wanted to do something other than the boss fight. Many a cart driver has met their end while traversing the Weald. A king's ransom of medicines was recently abandoned. It would greatly assist in rebuilding this sickly hamlets. Okay, that's an option. In the ruins, if we were to go a different route, the medium dungeon, where to complete 100% of room battles, this gives us a Camouflage Cloak, plus 15% dodge if torches above 75, minus 25% dodge resist. Or rather, stun resist. I like that. That looks pretty solid to me. 15 dodge is a ton. 75 is a high threshold to be on for the torch. That is, I think we've learned the point where anything 75 and above means we're not taking any downsides of low light. But I mean, for the most part, we're trying to do that when we're in fights. It's mostly outside of fights that we are getting a little bit stingier with our torches. So I kind of think that intrigues me. That might be worth trying to target that. Then we also have this one in the rooms. Like I said, this one's level 3, so we should not do that. We should probably not do that. So those are some options in the Weald and in the ruins. Boss fights, which I'm sure have other useful rewards. Abomination, very rare. Oh, hold on. Transform, minus 40% stress inflicted on party, minus 40% on transformation stress as well. I mean, that's the primary reason why we haven't transformed at all yet, was because we don't want to be putting extra stress on our party if we don't need to, but I mean, that looks pretty useful too. That does look pretty useful too. So, I don't know, are we up for a boss fight then? I mean, all these rewards, that looks useful. This is also very rare. Let's see, Vestal only, so we could use this on Anor. Minus 10% stress, plus 33% healing skills, minus 20% stun skill chance. Don't like that because we've recently discovered or recognized the effectiveness of Anor's stunning abilities, and minus 33% damage. Ooh. So it basically, it's very good for having Anor be a pure support character for healing purposes. From the stun, you could make a case for that being a support skill as well, but reduces her effectiveness as a damage dealer. She's already not great at that. So I guess you could make the case of, well, minus 33% damage of an already low number is not actually going to make a huge difference. So most of the time I think she's, what, like 4 to 6 damage? So it's probably going to be something along the lines of minus 1 damage on the low end and possibly minus 2 damage on the high end. It's going to mean she's dealing very little damage. Yeah. So that's a little bit harder to justify, I feel like. I can see the use case for it, but it's a little bit harder to justify. Whereas this one I feel like is just why not, right? There's no downside at all. And in fact, it addresses our primary concern about the transformations for the abominations. So I do like that. If we're talking about one boss versus the other, I might prefer going after the Ruins boss for that reason. But I do also like this Camouflage Cloak. This looks really cool. And that could be the kind of thing that could help us against a boss as well. I mean, plus 15 dodge is just ginormous, is it not? Like, Anor has 0 dodge. Jer has 7, which I think is pretty high. Ryu has 0. And, wait, hold on. Does it... Despite it being a cloak, which would perhaps suggest that it would belong in what is usually the chest plate slot, does it still go into one of these accessory locations, or is it actually replacing this? Because this is where our characters are getting their base HP from. So I'd rather not remove a character's base HP if we can avoid that. That'd be kind of nice. Yeah, it must be incremental to that. So I kind of think it might be best to go here first and then try to take on one of the bosses. Probably this one. I think that might be the preferred order of operations, because this can help us with the boss fight if we can get this. And this one we need to... what was it? Completing 100% of room battles. I think that might be the best way to go about doing it. The other thing is that the Cove, we've not yet done. This would also be all room battles. We get a Jester item, though, and not as good of an item at that. We don't have a Jester either. So this just doesn't provide nearly the same value that this would. It's a medium dungeon, whereas this is a short one. And this would technically be our first medium dungeon, so I think we're still ready for it. So, let's see. Anor, you did just go. But you are on relatively low stress, and you are one of our best ranged characters, especially because, once again, our other range character, or one of our other range characters, is getting treated in town, so that does limit us significantly in the back few rows. We are kind of pressed to find people to fill in one of those slots, so it might need to be an orc once again. And then that means, if we're looking at a medium dungeon, I think we do want to play it a little bit on the safer side here. Anor is obviously one of our veterans, and having the healing I think will definitely be beneficial. But then, does that mean having other veterans join the team as well? And if so, who? Ryu, you went last time. I mean, we're going to need someone in this third spot. Is another tricky spot. We could bring JR again. We could bring Cam. As we were saying before, they fill a similar role since they both are abominations. And they have access to the same abilities as well. So I think JR has gone one more time than Cam has. So maybe that means this is Cam's turn to take the third spot here. And then that means spot number 1 and spot number 2 are frontline people. So, could throw in JR as well. That's probably more abominations than we want. We probably want to have a more well-rounded team, I assume. So the abominations, unless they transform, they are low on the damage. They have the stun, which is useful. They have the self-heal and stress relief, which is definitely useful as well, especially when things get a little bit rough. Some damage over time with the Beast Bile, which in longer fights can be significant, but, you know, the question of if/when the transformation is worth it is a question that is tough to answer at times, or at least something we'd rather not resort to doing 24/7. So, thinking we probably keep it to just one abomination then. We could have Ryu come back for another one. Only 2 stress. Wow. Was somewhat disappointed by the lack of accuracy that we saw Ryu demonstrate in the previous one. I think may have hit precisely 2 attacks and missed about 8. So, you know, the track record is not ideal. It's not great, but we might still choose to bring Ryu. I think also with a medium dungeon, we might start to have camping skills be a factor. Wound care, heal, remove bleeding, remove blight. Put the mask down. Self-heal only, reduce stress, all companions plus stress. They're like, I do not want to see what's behind that mask. Bloody Shroud. Buff self with resistance to various debuffs and statuses. Okay. Oh, this is only 1 companion. So, there. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Cam. Reduce stress on 1 teammate. On stealth, give extra damage for 4 battles, but Additional stress to non-religious... Oh. A little bit of extra stress to non-religious people. A ton of stress to people who are religious. That feels like that's... Once again, it's kind of like the transformation. Probably thematically supposed to be quite similar to it. So, comes at quite the cost. Or quickening, +4 speed for 4 battles. That's kind of nifty. Then, Anor also has a stress relief chance from 1 companion. Depending on if religious, can relieve a certain amount of stress. Wait, what? Oh, in battles and just up front as well? Okay. Sanctuary for religious prevents nighttime ambush. All companions. Mortality debuffs. Heal 50% HP. Mortality debuffs. Yeah, I don't fully understand how that one works, but also, how do we know if somebody is religious? Because the fact that Anor is faithless suggests to me that she's probably not religious. Whereas I'm also God-fearing, so I'm probably not religious. Core experiences religious visions and delusions. Does that mean he is religious? I don't know. Maybe. You know, maybe it's a combination of quirks. We were looking at Anor before. Looks like Jer is not religious, if we're going by that. Believes is possessed by demons. Probably, well, I don't know. Is that religious just in the wrong way? Maybe. Not sure. But anyways. I think we can make this team work. We're just looking for someone to fill in that front spot. It's been a little while since I've gone. We could have me go. I would be another one of the fairly experienced people. But, Fear of Beasts. Kleptomaniac as well, which, of course, could add up, especially in a long dungeon like this. We do have this new guy, who is capable in the front spot, I believe. Technically can't use Demon's Pull, but I'm not sure if we're going to use this. I'm a little reluctant to break him out on this occasion. I feel like we might want to use him on a time when the stakes are a little bit lower. So for that reason, I'm leaning toward... We have to use the Bounty Hunter once as well. He could take up one of the front 2 spots. It's a little less experienced. We've used him once. He's leveled up a bit. One time. Marks, does anyone else benefit? You really work with the Arbalest, though, is the thing. So we probably want to save you for that. Maybe we have me go for this one, and then once the Arbalest is finally okay, next week we can break out the Arbalest, and we can break out the Bounty Hunter and try to pair those 2 up. So, let's see. If we are to go with this team, we have Anor, who's a bit of a veteran, myself, who's a bit of a veteran, you're a healer, I'm a tank and damage dealer. Cam can stun a bit. Ryu is also a damage dealer. Okay. Trap Disarmament, how are we looking? I'm 30%. Anor's 30%. That's as good as it's gonna get. Anor was 20% last week, was she not? But she leveled up, so is that why she's 30% now? Okay. Oh, and once again, I've booted Cam out. Okay, enough talk, let's do it. Okay, let's see. Firewood and camping. So this will be our first medium dungeon ever. This quest involves camping, and camping requires firewood. Firewood is given automatically to you on appropriate quests. Okay. Camping gives heroes a chance to recuperate while in the dungeon. When you are wounded or stressed and wish to camp, right-click on the firewood in your inventory. Okay. So it's basically like a one-time opportunity to heal, relieve stress, or use those other abilities that can buff us that we were looking at a little bit before. Did we look at what mine were? I can also encourage. I can remove stress or morality debuffs on a friend. And I can also relieve stress that way. Okay, so we have lots of stress relief for the camping stuff. I assume, since we're talking about a medium dungeon, presumably that means the dungeon is obviously larger. And so that means that we're going to want more consumables, in particular, things like food and torches are probably priorities, or the top points of emphasis here. So, of course, we struck out a little bit in the last encounter, where, I mean, it was perhaps pretty big and required a lot of backtracking for a small dungeon. So maybe that was roughly the same as what you would normally see for a medium dungeon, but we did encounter 3 food events, 3 starvation events, so that was kind of scary. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we at least want to get one more round of food for everyone. Is 16 enough? It's our first medium dungeon, so I have no idea. Maybe, hopefully. It probably means we've encountered a lot of obstacles that require shovels. So I think we definitely want to use some of those. At least 2, possibly even 3. Would potentially even consider more. Just starve, man. No, don't starve. Wait, that's a different game, though. But how's it going, Infinidave? Of all the Daves out there, you are, in fact, all of them. The Infinidave. Okay, so what have we learned are other things that we're going to want in this area? I think we've just discovered that holy water can help us for some curios, and presumably at some point or another, we will encounter some of those curios, because this is going to be a longer dungeon. So it probably makes sense for at least one of those. Oh, we already had one. Okay. Maybe 2 is the right number then? Other things. Other things we found ourselves to need. Yeah, we've not yet done torches. We definitely need to do torches. The question is, how many? This is our first medium dungeon. Seawolf, you are not dead yet. You did take a lot of stress from the previous one, and so you are currently relieving stress in town. But other than that, you did all right. You did all right. You held your own until the very end when you started to get really stressed out from some stuffs. And, you know, you're just taking a little bit of time off now. Just taking a little bit of time off. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. So, yeah, how many torches do we need? We do have my ability, which can restore a little bit of light, and Nor has one as well. Dazzling Light. Hers gives +6. Mine gives +24. So mine is much more significant from a light standpoint. However, I think Nor's... There are probably more times when we would want to use hers, because hers is a stun ability, which is just a great go-to, whereas mine is a taunt, which is certainly a lot riskier. But that is one way in which we can relieve a little bit, or restore a little bit of light without having to use all the torches. Exactly. Seawolf, tomorrow when we're doing Mass Effect, you'll need to survive. You will need to survive. Okay. I think we're definitely going to want more than this, because we used 12 previously, right? Again, we did a lot of backtracking, but we can't guarantee that we're going to be able to avoid the backtracking here. We might need to do some of that. And with that in mind, I think let's play it safe. From a torch standpoint, maybe 16 is enough. Again, I have no idea. It's our first medium dungeon. So, maybe that's enough. Keys, we did encounter several occasions in the previous dungeon in which we did not have enough keys. We took our chances, and it still worked out for us on 1 or 2 occasions, but on 1 or 2 occasions it also backfired on us, so picking up 1 or 2 of them, probably not a bad idea either. Okay. Is this enough? So if we start to get more, then we're running out of inventory space to acquire the usable, or the useful, lootable things. So we might not want to go that route, if we were to have that happen. Oh, also, it's probably too late for this, but I think we did get an item for Steelwolf, which was kind of nifty. It gave, what was it? Was it... I already forget what it was. It gave 1 stat reduced, but a useful stat buffed. And we threw it on him. It was only for the first character in the first spot, so if we were to get it off of him, then we could put it on me, but as I say, as we're on this page already, it might be too late to do that, and Steelwolf is currently occupied. So maybe we'll get by without that. So, I mean, there are other things, like we could potentially get a bandage in case we run into some bleeding, maybe medicinal herbs at some point, maybe an anti-venom at some point, who knows? Don't know if we've ever seen a situation thus far in which we've needed a laudanum, but again, who knows? Click the chest. Can we still get it? Oh, we can still get it. Okay, what was it? Which one was it? Ooh, I did not remember us picking this up, but this is something we can put on Anor, and Anor is in the party right now. Increased virtue chance, so chance of positive works, but at the cost of reduced HP. Not really sure we want to do that. Oh, okay, I'm not seeing it right now, but I assume that's because it is still equipped on Seawolf, but we have this, which is also something that I didn't remember us picking up. Extra damage to melee skills. Reduced healing skills for the Crusader. I mean, do I even have any healing skills? Because I'm not sure that I do. Oh. Also have this, which I'm not sure where that came from. Did I start with that? Did I start with that? Maybe I did. I mean, it feels like, basically all of my skills are melee skills. I'm not sure I have any healing skills. Maybe the campfire skills count, but even then, I think I'm mostly stress relief. So I think this is mostly just pure upside. Should be probably about 1 damage. Maybe, at least on the upside of the range. Maybe on the low side as well. Yeah, do I have any healing abilities at all? That's all stress relief. Yeah, I have no healing abilities. So that's, there's no downside to that. So that works. It was Greaves and plus 25 damage in the first round. That is nice. Would that beat plus 5% protection and reduce crit chance? Maybe? Can unequip trinkets in the top right. For even characters that are busy getting stress relieved in town. Ah, we can unequip all trinkets here. Except I'm still... Oh yeah, there it is. Gloves. Plus 25% damage if in position 1. Reduce crit chance, reduce speed. I'm already really slow. That might still work. We do this. We just go all out damage, do that, and that. So I'm getting plus 35% damage. Or we could, tell you what we could do. Actually, I think it might be more efficient to do, where's the other thing that I had? Have me do this. I get the extra melee damage and reduce healing. The reduce healing doesn't matter. I get the extra protection, but reduce crit. And then what we do is we actually... Hold on. Oh, can I still swap our order? I guess we can swap our order. Remind me to swap our order between these two. And then what we can do is we can put the other trinket on Ryu here. Oh, hold on. Come on. Come on. UI, help me out. There we go. So this only works in position 1, but if we put Ryu in position 1 and we put me in position 2, we are interchangeable, I think. And this is not class specific, whereas the ones that we put on me are. So that should still work. Then, other items, are there any that we'd like to put on other people? There was the question of, do we do the increased virtue chance on Anor, but I think we pass on that because I'm not a huge fan of reduced max HP. Extra bleed skill chance, reduced speed, not sure that makes a ton of sense. And the other ones I think are character specific or class specific, and we don't have the right classes here. So I think that'll do. And I think, consumables wise, this might be what we're looking for here. This might be what we're looking for. I still don't know if this is the right amount of torches or food, but hopefully that'll do. Hopefully that'll do. Maybe we'll starve. Maybe we won't. But we're about to find out.
The fiends must be driven back. And what better place to begin than the seat of our noble line?
Okay. So, before I forget, let's have us switch places, because now you get the extra damage from being in the first spot. And -1 speed, you are also really slow, so that shouldn't be a huge factor for you. And now I'm still getting that, so that's no problem. And let's take a look at our map here. So how big is this map? It's supposedly medium size, and it is fairly linear, it seems. Honestly, it's about the same size as the one we were just in, which was short dungeon. So yeah, you guys were saying before, this seems kind of silly how last time it counted as a short dungeon, even though it really didn't feel like it. Right, you know, we have a picnic as well, right? Okay, so for what it's worth, we can immediately go into a battle if we go this way. I think what is the objective here? We have to complete all room battles, and there is a room battle here, so we must go this way. What is this? Room battle with Curio. Okay, so lots of room battles all over the place. So we will need to go this way. We will immediately run into a battle. We are on high torchlight, so that's fine. And I think we go this way, and then we go over this way, and of course we'll see once we hopefully get a little more scouting here. Might be able to determine whether we need to go into every single room here or not, but fortunately this time, once we do get over here, we shouldn't have to backtrack at all, unless we're like trying to metagame a bit and avoid an obstacle or something like that. That might be something we consider doing, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So let's head over in this direction and immediately go into a battle. And what could possibly go wrong? We're about to find out. They are all surprised, so that's a good start. So we're back in the area where we're gonna run into a whole bunch of these bone rabble and bone soldier enemies and the bone courtiers, which are the stress dealers. I think, especially in a long or medium length dungeon now, all the more reason for us to try to target these guys in the back. Now, the tricky thing with this team, I am immediately, only now I'm realizing, is that I think it's gonna be hard for us to target the back row, because that is the shortcoming of my character and Ryu's character. Jer, Manacles can't hit the back row, but you can hit the third spot reasonably easily. Anor can hit the back and might be the only one who can hit the back reliably, unless Jer transforms. Or rather, Cam transforms. So, that concerns me a bit. That feels like that was something that we probably should have established earlier on, because that could potentially turn into a huge problem for us. So, you know, we're learning. We're learning perhaps a few minutes too late, but, you know, we'll find a way to make do, won't we? So we'll try to stun this guy. And we will. So that's good. Fortunately, relatively low HP. So Anor also can't stun the back row. That's the one thing she can't do in the back row, which really stinks, because that would have been really helpful if we could have at least bought ourselves a little more time and knocked some of these guys a little bit closer in by taking out these guys. Bone Rabble we may still be able to hit and take down in one hit. One of us, because we have extra damage as well. So that is nice. But, I think what we'll do is maybe Dazzling Light on this one, because it has more HP. We're less likely to be able to take it out. We'll deal a little bit of damage to it and potentially stun it. Great helps as well.
Quakes.
She's buffed. Extra healing now, that means. Okay, so Ryu. You can now... let's just see how much damage this is. 5 to 9, which is possible to take out both of them, potentially, but you would need to get a relatively high roll. Alternatively, you go for the chop, and you are guaranteed to get enough damage here. So I think we do that, because it will do the trick.
Cleansed from our lands.
Okay, so now here's the thing for me, is as we were saying, I cannot target these back few rows. So these guys are stunned, so by default I'm going to have to hit a stunned enemy. I could maybe Zealous Accusation. In the interest of trying to remove this corpse, it's not guaranteed to destroy it, but it might. Extra damage versus Unholy, and these are Unholy. Which means this is guaranteed to kill if it hits. Probably should do that, right? What's up, Cheddar? How's it going? How are you? We're doing some Darkest Dungeon, and we're killing some skeletons. You're stunned, you are not. This is gonna deal some stress. A lot of stress. So is that. And this is the problem, is we are going to have issues dealing with these enemies in the back, and they are the stress dealers, and that is the thing that is what we would normally like to prioritize. You are resistant to stun now, and that is the thing that we would like to do to you at this point in time. And ideally, we would have Cam taking the stress, because Cam can heal it off most easily with her Absolution, whereas others are not nearly as good at doing that. So, not a huge fan. Not a huge fan of that. You have not yet taken your turn, for what it's worth. So it probably is still worth targeting you. It is possible to get the Killing Cloak here, but actually, Beast Bile. What is your Blight resistance? It is bad. And Blight is how much damage? It's 2 points. So it cannot kill, unless it crits. Whereas this, it's at least possible if we hit the high end of the range. Excuse me, of the range. I think we're probably looking to do this, even if you are extra resistant to stuns on this turn. Yeah, you're going to resist that, and you are still going to take your turn. Okay, you're targeting me now, and there's the stress. Okay, so at this point, we might be looking to stun, and it's also a little bit of free light. Then again, we are on 100%, so that's not really a factor right now. But, I mean, it is guaranteed to kill if it hits. And or it's taking a little bit of damage. To tell you what, is actually better to Judgment. Get the damage and get the healing as well.
Confidence surges as the enemy crumbles.
Okay, now here's the problem. I can do just about nothing right now, because these corpses are currently in my way. So I guess I'm gonna chop a pile of bones here. I really thought I was gonna miss, and that was gonna be embarrassing. So now at least you should be in much better range for some of us, but not all of us. Yeah. Now you are. Except you're still going first. It looks like that's the first time we've seen them use that ability. Perhaps when they're in the front 2 rows, they use the knife, whereas when they're in the back 2 rows, they use the goblet. Much prefer that tiny little damage on the knife, though. I'll take that for sure. Okay, and there's a stun. So here's the thing. We now have time. We do now have some time, at least. So we could at least get a little bit of healing in. I've taken 3 damage. Ryu, you've taken 4. We might as well take a little bit of time to get a heal in.
Sedated.
Although Ryu has better self-healing than I do, so guess you could have made a case for healing me and having Ryu self-heal, although I'm probably going for the Killing Cloak here, I think. With Smite.
Back to the pit.
And some stress relief. Okay, so that's useful.
Foolish
Alright.
horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
So we have established that we have a critical weakness with this team. And we are going to see if we can get by with that weakness. Because, could be a problem. Could be a problem. We have the bookcase. And we've encountered these before. I do not recall if there's a specific way in which to increase the likelihood of us succeeding with the bookcase encounters. HP-wise, we're doing relatively okay. I've taken a little bit of damage from that, but we all took a bit of stress, which is harder to heal off, so that's more concerning, really. Especially that early on. We might, for that reason, play it a little bit safe for the time being on Curios, I'm thinking. We know that there is a battle in here. It's a battle room with treasure in it. But light is still 76, so I think this is a good time for us to hop in. And what are we dealing with this time? Okay, this time it's a different type of enemies. They are still surprised, though. And fortunately, it looks like it's probably less stress dealers and more just pure damage dealers. We have decent healing. We don't have as good stress relief. So, or at least not on as many characters. So, let's see. So, speed-wise, well, I guess everyone is going before you guys, but I suppose speed doesn't necessarily need to play a huge factor in who we're going after here. I think, as we previously established, hitting this third and fourth person is going to be the toughest thing to do. So for Cam and for Nor, we should try to make that a point of emphasis. I do believe. Ooh, you resist the stun, though. 10% stun resistance, and they pulled it off. I think we go for the Dazzling Light, then. Try again with the stun. This time it works. And you are lowered down to a 10, which, if we can get you into attacking range for either me or Ryu, then that should be in one-hit range in all likelihood. But you're out of range, physically, from a positioning standpoint at the moment. So now I think for us, we're looking at these two guys. And the Bone Soldier is probably much easier to deal with. I might have enough damage to one-shot this thing. They also have Stunning Blow. Let's just see. Is this possible to kill you in one hit? It's possible, but it's not guaranteed. It's reasonably likely. More likely than not, but it is not guaranteed. Zealous Accusation, just out of curiosity. Yeah, significantly less damage, probably not the right time for that. Is it worth Stunning Blow? It could be. It could be. I think a Stunning Blow, for what it's worth, probably does get any of these guys into killing range for Ryu. At which point, it doesn't make much of a difference to stun. So, I mean, maybe we just go for the stun here. I hit resist, though. Okay. Ryu does not have stun. It's not enough damage on the double hitting move, so would need to chop if we're going for the kill. And that is still not guaranteed. It went for the tankier enemy, thinking that we were going for the stun there and probably just going for the straightforward kill on the basic enemy, but now I think this is the one that is... I mean, you do have damage protection, whereas you don't. Or at least you have more damage protection than you do. So it's not necessarily more of a sure thing. I think we still go for you. And it is enough.
Give them no quarter.
There's the stun. But now all these guys are going to go. Dodge that. That's good. You, however, will deal 2 damage. That's not so bad. Okay, but these guys are fast. So we'll go again, and Nora is not nearly as tanky. So I think now, well, you are resistant to the stun. That's going to be a bit of an issue. But then again, you've not yet taken your turn. Manacle is 3 to 5 damage, which is not enough, and it's unlikely to stun. Beast Bile, don't have a lot of blight resistance. 1 to 2 damage, and the damage over time is 2 points over the course of 3 turns. So it does add up, but it's not enough by itself. At least not on this first turn here. Is it still the answer, though? Because it might be. And we can try for the stun, even if it's unlikely. How much resistance is it? 50%? That's right, 60% stun resistance chance. I mean, it is still the highest damage in 1 turn. True, we do have the option of doing our camp this time round in the medium dungeon, so that might be our key way to relieve stress here. I think we might just go for that front damage and maybe still get the stun. Now they do resist. Okay, but an ore is fast enough to go before you do. And Judgment is probably not enough. If it high rolls, it is. And it's still hard to hit this enemy in the 3rd spot. So I think it is worth going for it. How much speed does it have? 5? Okay. In alternatives, again, we could try going for the stun. It's still unlikely to trigger, but it is an option, theoretically speaking. I think we just go for the damage, though. It's not enough. Ooh, I go. Surprisingly speedy maneuver for me, but I cannot reach you. I'm gonna have to go for this guy. In which case, I think I'm just going for... I mean, I could try to stun, but if I do smite... Yeah, we're debating this before. It's relatively... Alright, more likely than not to get the killing blow if it hits. But it might... Could it be better to stun? If we stun you, maybe we use Ryu to take out the corpse, and then suddenly we have more people in killing range. That might be the better long-term plan. It buys us a little bit of time with you. Yeah. You're gonna go, though. It's Cam. Cam does have decent healing and stress relief, so Cam is probably... Cam and Ryu are technically the ones, along with me, just because I'm tanky, that we'd like to be taking hits. Definitely not an orb. So we have this. You are stunned, So I think this is a rare opportunity for us. Might even consider queuing. So if it hits, it's enough to take you out, and we can still possibly remove this corpse. Not guaranteed, but I think we try.
Their formation is broken.
Not quite, though.
Maintain the offensive.
Does relieve some stress. And now we can stun, and we can still hit you with manacles. So we will.
Continue the onslaught.
But too many corpses. Too many corpses, and we cannot stun this back enemy, even with the Nor. We can just do upfront damage. Unless you dodge. And you are next. And we dodge. Okay, so we can break through the corpses to free up some opportunities, eventually, for Ryu and for myself. That might need to be the answer here. Otherwise, we could potentially just lean on Anor for the damage there and have Ryu and myself heal up, because I can't really do anything once again. I could Zealous Accusation, and if it hits, it gets rid of you and damages you, might kill you. Yes, that's probably still the answer. Double kill with Zealous Accusation is still pretty fun. Okay, now you're point blank, so you are using different skills, and hopefully, that might be a little bit weaker, technically. But now you've already taken your turn, and now we should have increased ability to stun you. So we might suddenly have a little bit of time on our hands to do things like heal. Who are we getting the stun from, is the answer. I think the answer is, or is the question. The answer is probably me, because I'm the only one who can't heal. So I think everyone else is healing, I'm stunning. And then we're just banking on going faster than you next turn, because you have 5 speed, but Anor has 4, which is debatable who's going to go first, and Cam is faster still. I think Cam is about 7. So we have, not guaranteed, but decent chance to outspeed you. So I think that's the plan. So for Anor, I think you might be self-healing. You're either self-healing or you're healing me, because I can't self-heal, and I have taken a fair bit of damage. Cam can heal herself. Don't remember if... Can Ryu only heal self, or can Ryu heal other party members as well? It's Ryu, I mean, it does relieve stress as well, I think, which is still useful, but if Ryu can heal others, then that is worth considering. We do have a party heal, for what it's worth with the Nord, but I think it's, in part, it's the stress relief that we're looking for here more than anything. We might go for the heal on me, because I cannot heal. Then it's the Absolution, which has to be on self for Cam. It's more stress relief than it is healing, but a little bit of both is certainly still useful. And this, nah, it only is a self heal. -5 stress is still not amazing, but I think we'll take it because we can. Just seize those opportunities when possible, and then we're going for the Stunning Cloak here. And naturally, we pay the ultimate price because they dodge. And they still go first. And I mean, we took 2 damage, which honestly, we're healing more than that. So if the best they can do is just 2 damage, then it is actually worth continuing to heal. And topping people off with health and completely eliminating stress if we can. So why not, I suppose? Because it's a rare opportunity to do just that. So I'm now at full HP. And Ryu took a little bit of damage, but can heal off that damage and relieve a little more stress. Now just on 2. So now we can try the Stunning Blow. It hits, and the stun does land. Oh, what? That's a thing? Okay. Maybe we can't just mess around indefinitely. Maybe we can't do that. Okay. Here I thought we were being extra clever, because we had the opportunity to heal and relieve stress, but it's not that simple after all, perhaps. Maybe it's not quite that simple. Maybe we tempted fate a little bit too much. You have not yet gone. And we can stun you, so we probably should. Okay. So things admittedly did just get a little more complicated, and we did kind of ask for it, but I didn't know that was possible for that to happen. Now we do know. Now we do know that is a thing. So we can absolutely kill you in 1 hit if we'd like to. We can almost absolutely kill you in 1 hit. Where is Ryu getting all this damage from? Does this increase damage as well? So you have extra damage against humans, extra damage and accuracy against humans. Okay, so at least against these guys, who are human, more accurate and more damage, which you'll love to see. So 85% accuracy, whereas it's just 70% here. So I think we can't reach you, unfortunately. Once again, how much damage are we looking at for Hugh? 5 to 10, 5 to 10. Possible to kill. Impossible to kill unless it is a crit. But you are stunned, so we don't have to rush too much on you. Okay. This is probably Zealous Accusation territory, because you are on 2 HP and you are on 2 HP. And that'll do.
The fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Okay. So Nor, you can hit this one. And you should still be able to stun it. I think we should do that. Unless it resists. And because that means it's going to go first. Resisting the movements, and honestly, it's not that bad what it's trying to do to us. So, we'll... Prevention is better than cure. Yeah. It looked like it was a free healing opportunity, but maybe it turns out those free healing opportunities are not so free after all. There is the sun, so like, here's another situation where we could do a little bit of the same thing. But, have we learned our lesson? I mean, you still can't hit this guy. Or lady. But, maybe we Hugh to clear out some space. Because now we can. I think that means I'll go for the killing blow. Nora has a chance to heal. In this case, she should probably heal herself. I mean, technically, she can deal damage and heal a little bit. That's what, 3 HP, whereas this is 4 to 5. And you are on... Oh, you only lost 2 HP? Okay, I guess why not? In that case, just go for the damage and heal. Does light go down as the battle goes on as well? Because I'm pretty sure that we started off this battle at 100. Which, honestly, we deserve that. Or maybe it was lower than that, and we do have some skills that raise light. A Nor stun does that. I'm not sure if we use that all that much. We have, right? Okay, now we should just go for the highest accuracy move, I think. 73%, 73%, 78%. Even if the damage is lower, doesn't matter. That should still be enough. If it does hit, you are stunned, but still. It could be an opportunity to get some free light if we want to be clever again, but no. Enough of that nonsense. We tempted fate enough already.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
Okay, we get a little bit of food and some other valuables as well. There is a chest here, and so we did manage to relieve a fair bit of stress on the people who can relieve stress. Anor healed a bit, but she is still the one with the most stress right now. So that is something to bear in mind. And I think for that reason, we should probably have someone like Pam, who can relieve stress and heal herself, be the one to open this in case something goes horribly wrong, because it does. But we resisted the downside of it, so on net, just nothing happened. Okay, so that was a battle that we needed to do. And we don't know what's over here. But I think that's where we're headed next. So let's prepare ourselves. For a trap that I did not see. I honestly was looking on the ground right here for a trap, and I didn't see it. But we might have already functionally walked past it. Curio. Have we seen these ones before? We have, and I think we deliberately avoided it. Kinda feels like a holy water situation. Ashes of the Departed. I know we confirmed that, what was it, the Iron Maidens require holy water, and we could potentially wait to use our holy waters until we run into one of those, because that would be more of a sure thing, and we don't know if that's gonna work here. I mean, it feels like this is the potential to be just a very unholy experience. Raiding an urn. So holy water feels like it's the right answer, but I can't say definitively. Maybe you just shovel. Oh no. Maybe you just shovel it out. You know. No, we should probably... I think we might just ignore this one for now. We will be doubling back here, I think. Yeah, we will. So we'll have another opportunity. If we would like. Okay, so we don't know what's in this room, for what it's worth. But it's empty, it would appear. Okay, so that means we're just heading back. And we need to, do all room battles, so that means we technically did not progress much at all by going to this last room, but we didn't get scouting, so no way of knowing. We'll head back. And we have recently learned that it is possible, in fact, for new battles to appear where there were not previously battles. Like, was there one there before? There might have been. There might have been. I think we'll still pass this up. Okay, maybe, despite the fact that we don't have any battles in this area here, we might still want to torch up a little bit. How are we doing from a torch standpoint, though? We have 15 remaining. How much ground do we have left to cover? What did we start? Did we just start with 16? And we've only used one, that means? I find that hard to believe. We do have 2 people with torch lighting abilities, but maybe that means that if things get a little bit desperate, we can resort to that rather than trying to rely on that stuff early on. I mean, whenever we can. If we have that opportunity present itself, then I suppose why not, but okay. Now we head through. Now it's new ground that we are venturing, and there is another curio. In this case, this one I don't think really requires any specific items, but once again, probably makes the most sense still for Cam because she has the best ability to heal and relieve stress on herself. A map inside for more scouting. Ooh. Okay. What have we learned? More curios. Another... might actually be our first obstacle. Empty room here. Trap right off the bat there. And bunch of curios. So yeah, again, I think if it feels like we don't know definitively what the answer is for a curio, we can always experiment, but I feel like that's best to do near the end of a dungeon if we are in reasonable shape. Whereas early on when we don't know, or we're going to run into some terrible things later on, it might not be the right time to take those risks. Whereas if we know what the resource that we need is to disarm a curio and we have it, then that's more the sure thing. Okay, there will be a battle in this room. Or in this hallway, I should say. And technically, we've blown through a decent number of torches. I mean, this is the right time to torch, though, right? Should torch for this fight. Here it is. Oh! Okay, we've seen the spidery dude before. We've not seen these maggots before, though. They're just 6 HP. So theoretically, it should be reasonably easy to take out. They're 3 speed. So they're sort of middle of the pack, at least relative to our team here, where they're slower than Cam and then Anor by a little bit, but definitely faster than Ryu and myself. It's okay. For Cam, fortunately, there are also only 3 enemies here, which definitely helps us. You are the fastest enemy, so I think we target you and try to get you stunned. It does resist, though, and it does attack immediately after that, and it does blight us. That stinks. That really stinks. Phew. Is it enough damage to take out both enemies? Potentially.
Another one.
One down. No corpse either. Reduce stress. That's nice. Anor, this enemy has not yet gone, and anything will do. It has 1 HP. So I think we're probably just looking for the highest accuracy in that case, because you are on full HP, yeah, so you don't need to heal from Judgment, which means might just go for Dazzling Light here. It's higher accuracy, and it does give us a little bit of extra free light, so it's a nice little opportunity to benefit a tiny bit there, and reduce stress as well. Okay, then for me, I mean, technically, I am the last person to take turn this go around, but might this be another time where if we're feeling clever, we could deliberately torch up, and this would get us, absolutely max us out. I mean, on net, it's just giving us 8 additional light, which is maybe not a huge factor, but it is free light. So maybe we do it, because I feel like we should be able to take out a 4 HP spitter fairly easily. And it's 4 speed, but Cam is, what, 7. So she probably is going to outspeed. And Anor is 4, so that's kind of a 50-50 chance as to who's going to make it there. I'm pretty sure the stun would kill you. It would if it hits. But I guess we do it. We give it a shot.
As
Mark myself.
Purchase, spirits are lifted, and purpose is made clear.
So if we're feeling really clever, we would, or bold, maybe better way of phrasing it, we could use Absolution on Cam, get a little bit of self-healing, and relieve a tiny bit of stress in the process as well. It's not a huge amount of healing. It would help to mitigate a bit the downsides of that blight, but I think we might just go for that here. What is this? Warrior's
Be wary.
Bracer.
Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Extra damage to melee skills, but reduced dodge chance. I mean, we'll take it. I'm fully equipped, and I would be one melee character. Ryu is the other. Ryu has one item, but Ryu does have 7 dodge. I was gonna say, I didn't think that we were the dodgiest of characters. And I was gonna ask, is it possible for us to even go negative with it? But, no, Ryu does have 7. So that would... Why does it reduce crit? Did it reduce crit? Maybe it didn't. But, I mean, 10% damage on Ryu, who has a lot of damage to begin with. 10%. I mean, that's probably 1 damage on the low end and 2 damage on the high end. Which could be a big factor, because that could be just enough to the point where Ryu is now capable of one-shotting even more enemies, even without crits. And that is definitely a nice ability to have. Then the accuracy becomes the issue, because Ryu is not very accurate, but we, you know, one step at a time here. So we are expecting a Curio battle, and since we used a bunch of abilities to increase our Torchlight, should be doing totally fine there. So let's hop in. Cam is a little bit hurt here, and does still have a Blight. And, okay, it's a interesting combination of enemies. Tempting Goblet is going to be mostly stress on Ryu, who can relieve stress, so that's not the worst target of those abilities. You have not yet gone, the Acolyte, so I think we try to stun you. But it's... She is dodgy. She is dodgy. But we can potentially Dazzling Light you for some stuns as well. We are technically not quite on 100 light, so I mean, tiny bit of value there, but it's mostly for the stun. And it does work that time.
Is struck. A blazing star
And just in time to stop that attack, but that could hurt. It's mostly the bleed, I think, and I resisted that, fortunately. Graveyard Slash is more of a just pure damage, I think. And Cam is taking several hits here. So I think we're gonna need to do some healing on Cam. Could have it directly happen through her, or could have a Nor heal her. It is right now just myself and Ryu who have yet to go, and so we cannot do any of that. I could mark myself and make it more likely for them to target me. We want to try to take some attention off from Cam, which could be a way to make it more likely for her to have time to heal up. Don't starve and Torchlight indeed. Sometimes it feels like those are the games we're playing here. Do have the ability to stun, though. Pause stun. Which is a nice way to slow down the enemy while still weakening them simultaneously. That is tempting. Ryu has the extra damage against humans specifically, right? This enemy does have more HP, but I mean, if we stun you, then Ryu's double hitting ability can definitely get the death blow on you. If we stun you, and Ryu gets a high roll on the double hitting ability, Ryu might be able to hit both enemies with one hit, but it'd be tough. It'd be tough. I think we go for the stun here. Okay. And Ryu, with a chop, 10 to 20 damage is certainly not bad. I think we take our chances here. And it's 16, so that's huge. Because stress dealers may still be able to go before Cam does, but damage dealers are unlikely to be able to do that. So Cam should have time. I mean, she could try to go for the stun, but I think that might be a Nor who tries to stun you. Cam, I mean, then again, we were saying before, prevention better than healing and remediation, if you will. So maybe it is still worth going for the stun here. You have already taken your turn this round, but I guess it would still potentially stop you next round. If we do this, then a Nor can heal you up. Yeah, I guess we do that. There's the stun. Okay, nice. Nice. So now, I think we're just looking at as much damage as we can get, and we might even be looking for a Hue because it is likely to deal enough to take you out. You are stunned, so it's not super high priority, but it can potentially remove this corpse as well, which makes me capable of hitting this enemy, which would be a factor. So that's big. Relieve some stress, and now I think a Nor we will use to heal up Cam, because Cam has taken a bit of a beating here. Although a Nor could stun you, and then everyone is stunned, which is really tempting. Except they dodge. Okay, so now I think I'm just looking for the killing blow on you, stunned as you might be. Oh my god. Too much dodging. Okay. Cam still has time to potentially stun you, and we do. Stun. Probably stun here. Okay. So you're still going to be tough to take out. It might be up to Nor to do that. In which case, are we once again looking for a killing blow from me? Stun is not the right choice. Smite is guaranteed to kill you if it hits. Zealous Accusation, if it high rolls, it would also get rid of this corpse and make Ryu capable of hitting this one. It's not ideal. One way or the other. I guess we'll smite you. Okay, so then Bernor. Six HP. 4 to 7 damage. It is possible to kill you. The question is, how are we getting the heals on Cam? So we definitely want to make that happen. We could use some food to make that happen outside of battle. I'd rather not have to do that. Think we might go in for a heal here. It's not huge, but it is something. And then we'll go probably Hue. Clear these out. Should significantly weaken you. In fact, I think now you have to go the melee attack, which is much weaker. You've already taken your turn, which means Cam now should be able to heal herself and relieve a little bit of stress. Not huge either, but add those two heals together, and it does certainly start to add up a bit. And now, if I were to stun, can I stun you without killing you? Possibly. Possibly. Light is almost full, so it's not like this is super helpful to do that. Guess we'll try the stun, but it is going to kill. Okay. So we took some big hits there, but we were able to heal some of them off near the end, fortunately.
So clearly in view. Or is it merely a trick of the light?
So, Steelwolf, we have realized that this team is quite flawed. In that we've only one character who is able to hit our enemy's back row, and it's Nor, and she's not our primary damage dealer, but she has to be our primary damage dealer against the back row. We do have a lot of stuns, but also we have this, which I'm not sure we've seen before. And previously we were using Cam as our designated investigator, because we thought that maybe with her ability to heal herself and relieve stress from herself, that would be the best way to go about doing things. However, Ryu can also do that, so it might actually be better for Ryu, who is a little bit tankier, especially right now. Eldritch Altar. Dedicated to unholy abominations. Perhaps a great power lies within. This seems like the kind of thing where, kind of similar to what we saw in the Wield, where we used a torch and summoned Yeastlock. This feels like a similar situation. I'm getting the same kinds of vibes. The whole perhaps a great power lies within thing. Like maybe you throw in a holy water and it get the bad vibes get quelled. On the other hand, maybe that makes whatever the source of the bad vibes are mad, and then it summons Yeastlock 2.0, who comes and tries to kill us, and we get absolutely annihilated. So, on this occasion, maybe we chill. Maybe we just chill. Maybe we just take it easy for the time being. Okay, more loot, potentially. from here. But it's already been looted. And how are we doing on shovels? Have we used any? We loaded up on a few. Okay, I think this might be our first time we're using one. So that is a good sign.
Even the cold
I almost accidentally clicked that.
seems bent on preventing passage.
Okay, so that's what it's there for, of course. And we're hoping that we won't need to use too many more of those. Not expect... Oh, no. I get chills every time I see this. Okay. How much food do we have? We did load up on a bunch of food. And it does heal us a bit, and we did have some people who could use a little bit of healing. So, you know, it's actually not a terrible time to run into that. But what are we expecting here? We're expecting an empty room. So I think, given our torch count, which is currently 14, which is actually not bad. I think we might have gotten some free torches at some point or another. I think we might try to proceed slightly further. We get some free scouting. All we are learning, though, is that this room is empty as well, which, did we already know that? Did we only know about the hallways and not this big room? Either way, we're hopping through here, and we should check where our best trap disarmor is. 20%, I think it might be me and Anor at 30% apiece. I think that's the case. And if so, on one hand, yeah, it should probably be me because I have more HP than Anor, and way less stress. Yeah, it should definitely be me. Okay. There it is. And it's disarmed. Okay. Relieves some stress. So that's nice. Expecting more curios. Still don't know the answer to this one. Still don't know the answer to this one. And again, I mean, we're outside of an ore. We're actually doing kind of okay from a stress standpoint. So we might be fine. We're getting close to the point where we're far enough in the dungeon where I'd say, you know, we can start to just take a few gambles here or there, even if we don't know if we have the right item. But I think we might want to get one or two big rooms further before we start doing that, especially because we know we have additional curios here. Noise. We'll nab them. Okay, so it is low light right now, but we know there's nothing in this room. So I think we at least get in here. And we get scouting. Okay, there's a battle immediately on the other side. A lot of scouting at that. Wow. Okay, so battle here, 2 curios. Room battle with treasure. Another curio, another battle, empty room. So remember, our objective is to complete all room battles. We've not yet completed that. So there's a chance this is the last one. There's still a lot of big rooms remaining. 3 more big rooms remaining, I think, that we've not yet learned about. So there's a chance it's the last one, but may very well be that one of those other big rooms still has one of the things that we need to do. So before we hop through here, we should load back up on some light and then head over in this direction, because we are basically going to get thrown into this fight immediately. What the heck is that?
Faces of the damned, piled high and cloaked in malice.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's surprised. Okay. Okay. Hey, collector. You're a little freaky. You're a little scary. Okay. Fortunately, we're going first here. But this does kind of look like a bit of a mini boss. We're pretty dead. Is it that strong? 70 HP. 70 HP. It's a trap. I mean, it was just it looked like just a normal encounter. I mean, we can flee. We've not completed this dungeon. But what is his stun resistance? 50%. Can try stunning you with Cam. We should be able to try stunning you with Anor. I should be able to potentially stun you as well. We have 3 opportunities to stun. Comp-wise, it's going to be hard. We do have... Ooh. And I assume it's just a random encounter, right? That whenever you happen to have one of those battles, there's always a chance. There's a chance that it turns into a mini boss like this, Most of the time, of course, we're seeing some combination of the more common enemies. But, I don't know, I'm tempted to try. I would like to try. Well, you're making me nervous here. And I feel like if we can get in a stun, I know it has stun resistance, but if we can at least get an initial stun in here, we can potentially get a free turn off. This might be a time, however. This might be the time to transform. Change mode into beast. +1 speed. 20% light resistance. 10% damage. Heal 5. Other heroes add stress. It is possible. I mean, we can flee mid-battle, right? So we could see how the first couple of turns go. If things go horribly wrong, we run away. I mean, we tactically reposition ourselves. Is what I meant to say, obviously. So I think we go for it. And I think it is, if ever there were a time to transform. Still no. When you do it like that, it looks like a gun. It looks like a gun. Okay, well. In the name of science, Cam will transform, I will try to stun, Anor will try to stun, Ryu will just go for pure damage, and we're gonna see how the first couple turns go. If things go absolutely atrociously wrong, hopefully nobody's getting one shot here. But if it looks like things are gonna be not so great for us, then we will retreat. For academic purposes, exactly. So I think we do it. It does apply some stress, but it does buff and heal Cam. So there is the transformation that we had talked about, but never actually seen before, and now that we do see it, I mean, wow. You can see why. That character is called the Abomination. And, it does still allow us to take a turn here. Okay, so what can we do here then? Slam. Base accuracy 80. Knockback 2. Debuff target with reduced dodge chance and reduced speed. What is its dodge and what is its speed? No dodge. Does have actually half decent speed. There is something to be said for slowing it down here. Now, does it have some kind of counterattack? Hopefully not, but we're about to find out. It is debuffed, so now it's on 3 speed for 3 rounds, and it can't go to negative dodge, unfortunately. But that does mean that now Anor has a better chance of outspeeding it. I mean, it's unlikely, but it is theoretically possible that either of us could steal outspeed. Also, I'm now in the 3rd row where I might be useless. That might have backfired. Anor, I think we're now trying to chain the stuns. The beast has been released. Now we're trying to stun. It has resistance. I'm completely useless in this spot, which is bad, because Anor didn't stun, and I was supposed to be the other person who could pull it off. But I had to use turn moving. So that's not a great sign, and might be a bad sign for Cam's prospects going forward. Okay, and given how we're talking about a boss here, and likely a longer battle, might it make more sense to try to set ourselves up with additional buffs? I mean, Cam's, I think, might have backfired if it does truly require that she moves every time she attacks, which I think she only had access to one ability, so that is definitely possible. Intimidate, bypass stealth, does mark Ryu, but give Ryu extra speed. It gives the enemy reduced damage and reduced speed. Is that, am I reading that correctly there? The second to last part, bypass stealth, minus 20% damage and minus 3 speed. That I assume is the enemy. That could be worth doing. Right, exactly. You're competing for the second slot. That's a problem. That is a potentially big problem. Because somebody's going to end up being useless. These 3 people who need to be in the front 2 spots. Technically... Oh no, you need to be in the front to do that. So it's not like you can even do it. Yeah. There's nothing Ryu could do if Ryu were to bump into the 3rd spot. This is going to be a problem. This is going to be a big problem. Okay, we'll try. Does still do a little bit of damage. It does debuff you. You will go next. Okay, what does this do? What does this do? What does this do? Those things are pretty freaky. Collected Vestal, collected Highwayman, collected Highwayman. Okay, are they functionally like the characters? The Highwaymen and the Vestal? They're basically like ghost eldritch versions of them? Because I'm beginning to see how this could be a problem. Especially because this guy is now in the back row, where only an Ore can hit him. And Cam can transform back. That's pretty much it. Yeah, forward 1 from Slam. Yeah. Yeah, see, the thing is... one of our 3 characters here is getting bricked every turn. Because, as we saw last time, when Cam used this Slam and went into the second row, I was unable to do anything. If we have Cam transform back, I guess she can still attack on the same turn if she transforms back, or at least that might still be the case. And we might have to do that. But I can see how this could be become a losing battle very quickly. I can see that being the case. Also, I very much do not like the way that these enemies squirm. Or the way that they are basically vertebrae and intestines and a head. And nothing else. That's also a little disturbing. So, yeah. What I'm getting at here is, especially with the Collector now hanging out in the back row, I mean, we dealt some damage to it. But the problem is, now Anore's the only one that can hit it. So this has become even tougher than it was before, and I'm not sure I see a way we can make it work with this team. Because the team's flaws are being exacerbated. Yeah. I want to try. I wanted to try. It felt like if it was a minor inconvenience, we might have been able to power through it. But this looks like a lot more than just a minor inconvenience. This looks like a potentially completely crippling setup that is going to be almost entirely incapable of dealing with this enemy. I feel like there may be almost no way to pull this off, given the team that we have here. We're pretty darn countered, basically. We are pretty, because we were almost all in on attacking enemies in the front 2 rows. So an enemy that retreats like this, and a powerful enemy that retreats like this, is a problem. And the fact that we can only have 3 out of 4 characters taking meaningful turns every time, every round, is a huge downside, of course. So I think we need to flee. I do think we need to flee.
A wise general cuts losses and regroups.
Okay. Tons of stress. So here's the thing. My question now is, I mean, that's a huge amount of stress. If we go back into this battle, is it guaranteed to be the same encounter? Will this encounter always be the Collector? Or is it a random encounter and last time it just so happened to be the Collector? But it would change every time, or at least it would re-roll that probability each time. Not sure? I mean, if it wasn't that costly from a stress standpoint, I would say it might be worth trying our hand again here. But if not, what if, okay, hear me out. What if we use our firewood to camp now? We're about halfway through, so it's not a terrible time to camp anyway. We can do this to relieve a bunch of stress. That way, we at least can hop back into the next encounter. If it turns out it's Collector again, we can retreat. We're still going to take a bunch of stress, but we've healed off much of the stress that we just took, so it hopefully isn't so much stress that it's absolutely crippling. If it turns out that it's not the Collector again, then we're in a much better place to take out that enemy, and we can proceed. So it's a way of investing ever so slightly more in this dungeon, because I assume... Well, actually, we got the firewood for free, didn't we? So it's not even much of a investment at all, really. It's just a better way of hedging our bets, it feels like. Because we have a lot of ways to relieve stress when we're camping, right? We can heal. Don't really want to do that, I don't think. Self only. Resist some stuff. I mean, that's maybe not the most useful things on Ryu. But I think I had a bunch of stress relief, and Nora had a bunch of stress relief. One companion minus 15 stress, one companion minus 15 stress. Remove morality debuffs. Minus 15 stress for the entire party. All companions minus 15 stress for 4 battles. That could be useful. Cam. Minus stress on the specific person. Extra damage for herself specifically. Extra speed for herself specifically. Honor. Minus stress. Minus stress. Self only. Heal. Yeah, exactly. So it feels like that's the right move here. And then we at least see if we're still encountering the Collector. And if we are, we're probably going to retreat because it's still going to be the same kind of totally debilitating combo or matchup. Whereas if it's someone else, then we're in great shape. And we just pray that we don't run into the Collector again. Out of curiosity, how rare is that enemy? Is that a really rare enemy that we just happen to come across? Or is it like, yeah, you know, you're going to run into them every 2 or 3 dungeons type of thing? But did we just get super unlucky there? Pretty regularly? Oh, okay. So it's not like we just had a bad roll of dice. It's something that you legitimately need to be prepared for, because it's not that unreasonable that it makes an appearance. Okay. That's good to know. And now that we have at least a little bit of experience with it. Okay. Let's use this. I mean, if we were to...
Close in tenuous firelight and uneasy companionship.
If we were to completely flee from this dungeon altogether, then I assume the stress relief from this campfire experience is beneficial as well, because, I mean, that just means there's less stress relief back in town. Yeah, might have good drops. I mean, that was what people were saying when we encountered Eastlock last week. But that was more... I mean, I didn't do it voluntarily, but it was more of a manual encounter initiation process, if you get what I mean. Whereas this was just purely random. Okay, so camping consists of 2 parts. This is our first time camping. Meal phase and skill phase. During the meal phase, you choose how much they eat, which determines recovery. Make sure you have enough food. Okay, we do have food. We have still 14, it looks like. So that shouldn't be an issue. Skill phase allows you to spend rest points on different hero skills used for recuperation. Okay, gotcha. So, let's see. Here is the food. Oh, okay, so it's none, reduces HP, and we take stress. 2 food, net 0. 4 food, relieve some HP, no stress relief. Feast, plus 8 food, and we reduce 10 stress, so with the same, no, more HP and reduce stress. I think we're probably looking at going for, how are we doing on HP, actually? Nora's taking 2 damage, 0 for Cam, 1 for me, 1 for Ryu. That we don't really need the healing, to be honest. We've been baptized, what, by the torch encounter in the Weald? Is that what you're referring to? Or are you talking about an actual game mechanic called baptization? Because I actually would not rule that out being a thing. But I think we might be looking at just half, because we really don't need the heal all that much. It's like 1 point of healing that we might need. And that's... feels like that's better to just manually apply the... it might not be quite as efficient as manually applying the food. Possibly? I mean, it's the one that we have the emote of. It's the one that we just created the emote of that is totally misnamed. The emote is misnamed, but I don't remember the name of the actual character because we totally just said that it was a character from a totally different game. It was big, dark, purplish, and was not very nice. Okay. Yeah, we may have lost our first two characters to that enemy. Including the character of the person who convinced us to initiate that encounter in the first place. And Steelwolf, who was innocent. It was his very first dungeon, and he got thrown in. And Steelwolf comes in today, he's like, oh, what happened to my character lids? Well, see, here's the thing. Yeah, we almost wiped the entire party. I didn't realize we were even allowed to flee until two characters went down. So, fortunately, though, two did emerge, and one was Ryu. So Ryu obviously still here now. But, I'm gonna guess. And the other reason why I don't want to be too aggressive with the food is because we do still have a reasonable amount of ground to cover, so maybe we just go for half. The real thing that we're looking for here is to get some rest. Use camping skills to bolster your party's physical and mental health. Okay. We have rest points. How do we allocate them, though? How do we use them? So they each have a time cost. Oh, here they are. Okay. So I think we are probably going to prioritize the Zealous Speech. Gives everyone reduced stress. And reduced stress for the next 4 battles. That feels like that is the best thing to do. It does seem as though that might be our most expensive option, but I think it's probably worth it. Because everyone needs the stress relief, and most of the other stuff is one specific person gets stress relief. So I think we should go for this. Okay. There's the buff on everyone except for me. Okay, so we have 7 left. Costs 2 to encourage a single person. You can have even better stress resistance for one person. And the other person doesn't have that as me. But I'm doing okay on stress compared to others, though. Anor really needs the... Can she encourage herself? She cannot encourage herself. Okay, hold on then. Can we cancel that? No. Not like that, we can't. Okay. We have someone else encourage Anor. I think is what we're looking for here. Like so, but let's just see what our alternatives are here first. Because for Cam, I think it's mostly self-buffs. Plus 25% damage for 4 battles, but it gives stress to other allies, and I don't think we really want to do that right now, because stress is very much a concern. Can heal one companion, don't really need that. Can relieve a lot of stress from Ryu, but give a bunch of stress to others. That's probably not what we're looking for either. Resistance to bleed, blight, move, and debuff. Not really sure that's what we're looking for either, so I think what we are going to do in that case is encourage Anor. Reduce a little more stress for her, because she is the most stressed. Problem is, Anor cannot encourage herself, which is what we kind of like to do with this last one. But... prevents nighttime ambush, all companions... heal 50% HP... What are mortality debuffs? Yeah... I mean... Cam had the best ones, it seemed like. But Ryu does have some as well. Not sure to what extent we're gonna get these types of debuffs in the future, but I mean, there's something to be said for that, I suppose. It's mostly stress relief that we have for our abilities, though. Pretty one... or healing, which we don't really need right now. What is your stress? 23? Can't chance to herself either, I assume? No. 23, 11, 23. Also, I'm still not 100% sure how we determine if someone is religious or not. Obsessed with sainthood would perhaps suggest that Cam is, but I am God-fearing, which probably means that I'm not. And no quirks one way or the other, I don't think, on Ryu to suggest one way or the other. So I think... I guess we'll chance, because it's a slightly better encourage on Cam. Oh, it's just 5? Maybe she's not religious? at all. We have 2 left. Well, can I still... Oh, I can use multiple abilities. I did not realize that. I thought once someone used one ability, that was all they could do. I thought you could not double down and use 2 abilities from the same person. I keep on doing this to cancel out an ability that I don't want to use, but that's not the way to do that. Yeah, in that case, I might have wanted Stand Tall. Remove morality debuffs. I guess it's not a huge difference. So, can still target Anor for more stress removal, which I think is still what we're looking for here, because she's still at 45. That's the primary reason why we camped here to begin with. Okay. Also, don't know what the number of... Is there a reason not to use all that stuff? Does that help in some way? What the heck? We're ambushed, and we're surprised. Oh, no. Wait, are they? Why are we going first if we're surprised? Did Anor have an ability that allowed us to not actually get startled? Oh no. Oh no. This is the last thing we need right now. Okay, and we are also scrambled out of position here. Cam can heal and transform from here, but not much else. Don't really want to transform from here, because that's gonna, although the movement would be kind of useful, get Cam into the 3rd spot, which is where she wants to be for the most part. It would inflict additional stress on people, and that's the last thing we want right now. Even if we have minus 15% stress for the next few battles, probably don't want to be stressing that too much. So I think we're probably using Cam to just move up into this spot here, although that's going to make Ryu in the back, which is the last place that we want Ryu. Anor technically can work from anywhere, but she's the only person who is functional in the back spot, so she really needs to move to the back. I'm fine in the front, so I'm the one person who doesn't need to move. But this is going to be kind of nasty. It's going to take us some time before we are capable of doing things here. I am not liking the looks of this. Not loving the looks of this. Not loving the looks of this right now. So Anor, as I said, is technically still capable from this spot with a stun and with a party heal. Do we potentially have Anor stay here and just have other people move around her and have her continue to do stuff? Because this might be the right time to stun this enemy in the back. And then Ryu, again, is the glaring thing where it's going to take some serious time to get Ryu all the way up to spot number 2. Ideally, even spot number 1, but that's probably a luxury that we can't really afford to have right now. I think we go for the stun. No! Oh, why must you do this to us? Again, stun is probably very useful to buy us time, because we could certainly use that right about now. No, don't resist the stuns! Ryu is useless. Needs to move up. Oh, but Cam is also useless. So this is, now we're going to be playing hopscotch between Cam and Ryu. If they're each trying to move forward one spot, they're just going to continue to switch places. So we really do need to have Anor move up, or move back. Otherwise, that song and dance is going to continue. Any items that Cam could use, or Ryu could use, that would be useful? Not really. Not really. Exactly. Time to use up all that stress that we just healed off, isn't it? Isn't it, huh? Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Here comes more stress. They're singling out Ryu for whatever reason.
These shadows, but yonder,
and me for damage. Okay, so Anor, you really do need to move. If you do not move, we are in trouble. So if you do this, if you move now, we can at least get Ryu into a usable spot. And if we do this, everyone is now in the right spot. Took us a while to make that happen, but they are now in the right spot. I am getting hurt badly. Okay, I think we tried to go for the stun. probably on the enemy with more HP of the ones I can hit. And that time it actually works. So that's saying something. And no, this time you actually can attack. And you can hew if we'd like, which is not enough to take anyone out. So no, I think we're going for chop in that case. We need the killing blows here. And go for one with more HP. It does hit, and that's definitely big. Relieve some stress. We need all the help we can get here. There's the stun. Okay, and now, Cam, no, not that. This. You can hit, and you can stun. Deal with the stressor. That's good. That's good. You are usable. Once again, that's also helpful. 10 HP. Probably looking at a chop here because hew is not going to be enough to take you out, even if it'd be certainly helpful to get rid of the corpse there. Oh no. There's a useful stun. That is still useful. Still helpful. Yes, but now they're both resistant to stuns. Next go round, so that means we are probably looking to deal damage now, and so for Nor that probably means Judgment. And since Nor is the only one right now who can attack the third row, Cam can as well. We should probably focus on you. That is a number that is lower than I would like it to be. Definitely a number that is lower than I would like it to be. Still the sun resistance, so I think we're still looking at this. No! Is our accuracy lower when it starts like this? Hold on. Huge stress, monster accuracy and damage, monster crits, hero surprise, extra loot, player crits, nothing that affects accuracy. For what it's worth. Beast Bile can hit both, and is probably what we're looking for here, because they do have both stun resistance. A little bit of damage, and the Blight, which will hit them, but Eldritch Pull will mess up our order unless we dodge. Your attack on me. Just 2 damage. Just 2 damage. It's okay. It's okay. It's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything is gonna be fine. They no longer are stun resistant. Isn't that lovely? Because that means we can try to stun them again. Like that. And now you might even be in killing range. We don't have bandages, for what it's worth, but we can stun you, or at least try to. And we will. Okay. So, is now one of those times? And we may have a collector to fight after this. This is true. We might just flee after this encounter is over. In fact, I guess we can avoid some stress if we don't flee and we actually finish this encounter. We might be able to heal some, because both enemies are stunned right now. This one is faster, though, so even if it can't take its turn this go-round, it might be first next round. That's certainly helpful. And you are now in range. There's your stun, and you take damage from... Actually, you are going to die, no matter what, in your next turn from that Blight. So I think this is the time for any healing that we can muster. Cam's actually doing okay. Has not been targeted by any of these attacks, it seems, but we can relieve a little bit of stress. So that's still worth something. And again, technically speaking, we have what should be an automatic win as soon as she takes her next turn because of that damage, as long as they don't get reinforcements. But it's not like this fight has been going nearly as long as the one that we invited the reinforcements for previously. Now, do we have a Nor do a party heal on everyone, which Cam does not need. She needs a little bit. Ryu could use. I really need to heal, though, and I still am taking 1 more bleed damage when I take my next turn. So this might need to be a targeted heal on me, because I also cannot heal myself. And there is that damage. And for what it's worth, we can increase the light, which we might do, because again, you are going to get killed. It does mark me, which means they're more likely to attack me when I have 15 HP. But you're not really a damage dealer, you're a stressor. We could heal and relieve stress for Ryu, which is also probably something that we want to take a chance to do, because I think it is still possible. Okay, even more time here. Okay, now we might be starting to tempt fate a little bit. But, again, it still should be guaranteed kill. You're going to take 2 damage, and you have 1 HP. So I think we still heal and relieve stress. I mean, Cam doesn't really need it that much. She's doing, comparatively speaking, totally fine. I think we're still probably looking for, however, a targeted heal on me.
A momentary abatement.
There is the death, and oh man. Okay, so we do get better loot from a lower light fight, for what it's worth. But, get a couple of deeds. We get a Virtuous Chalice, which I think we already had. Yeah, the Virtue Chance and reduced HP. We did not opt to use on Anor, so we didn't like that reduced max HP. But there you have it. We're now at full light, and, so, that was a nice little surprise, huh? Oh, man. Oh, that's not what we needed. That is not what we needed right there. Not exactly what we were looking for, especially when, as we were saying, that was supposed to be a little encampment, a little rest period to relieve stress and heal, not to gain stress. Tempting fate by playing with the death blow mechanic. You mean like Death's Door, specifically? Because yeah, we've on a few occasions done a little bit of taking turns to heal and relieve stress when we have a good sense that the enemy's not going to be able to deal additional damage to us. But that one time where we went pretty crazy on it was the one time where they got the reinforcements to show up. So, I mean, it was pretty excessive that time, so I don't know how likely it really is. Okay, that's the thing you're referring to? Gotcha. Yes, I don't know how likely that really is, or if it's, you know, it only is even possible once you reach a certain number of turns. I mean, doubt they're ever going to get reinforcements on, like, turn 3, right? Or 2. You kill something that quickly. Then again, most of the times, the enemies either aren't dead, or if they are dead, they're corpses taking up room at that point. So it's just impossible. But, here's the thing. See, here's the thing. Now we know how important ambush prevention is. So, yeah. So we got ambushed while we were camping, right? That's the way that whole encounter happened right there. And so is it that when we're camping, there was that number at the top of the screen, which was basically the number of points we had to spend for potential, skills during our camping session. And I chose to use all of them because I was like, okay, we're just gonna relieve as much stress as possible. But it seemed like, you know, the room was getting darker when that was happening. It seemed like there was, you know, it was not all sunshine and roses. There was a downside of that, and was that basically the more of those points that we used, the more likely we were to get ambushed? Is that how that works? Or is it random and it just so happened that that was what took place and there isn't necessarily anything you can do? Any precautionary steps you can take to avoid it? We have a cleric? With a Vestal. Is there someone who, like, reduces the chance of getting ambushed? Prevents nighttime ambush, this one. Sanctuary? Yeah. This was the one where, yeah, we read it, and for a second there I thought, at that encounter, that we had gotten it. I thought that we actually did it, because I thought that we got surprised, and yet we still attacked first, which seemed odd. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why. Maybe we prevented the ambush with this, but we didn't use this. Okay. So is this the only thing you can do to prevent it? Or is it also, a higher probability if you use more of the skill points during the camping session? Because we did use all of them, and I feel like that didn't seem like that was a coincidence. That seemed like, oh, Lids, you shouldn't have done that, and now you're gonna face the consequences. Here's your ambush, and it's 0 light. Or did that just reduce the light? I guess if you get ambushed, you'd probably be on 0 light, regardless. No idea on that one? Okay. I mean, maybe it was just a coincidence. I don't know. Now the problem is, we are only, what? 2/3, maybe, % of the way through? Possibly just 50%. 1, 2, that's the room we started in. 3, 4, 5 big rooms, and we have 5 big rooms left. So it depends if you're counting this. So yeah, 50-ish% of the way through. And we've not yet completed our target of finishing 100% of room battles, because we know there's at least one through here. The problem is, last time we went through here, this encounter was the Collector. And we don't really know. We retreated the first time. We did the camping session to relieve the stress from that. We don't really know, is the Collector going to show up again? Or is it going to randomly be another dice roll, and maybe we'll get that enemy, maybe we'll get someone else, and they'll be considerably easier? Because if that is the case, we might be fine. If it's a Collector, we are going to have to run away immediately, and that's going to cost us a lot more stress, and that is going to be painful for Ryu, and that is going to be painful for Nor. Looks like Cam and myself, we might be okay, but for anyone else, that's a big risk to be taken. So originally the thought was you do the stress relief, and then it's a reasonably safe bet to make. You can just retreat if things go poorly, but or if the dice roll is bad. But now even that may not be a safe bet anymore. So how do we feel? How do we feel, team? What do we think? Oh, also night blindness. Minus 10% damage if torch is below 26, which was just a thing that happened. I think maybe we poke our head in and see if it's a Collector, because that would be a very useful thing to know, science-wise. And then we know we're going to retreat immediately if it is the Collector. Not even going to mess around for a turn, I don't think. And I don't think we took 50 points of stress. I think it was lower than that. It was like... Exactly. I think we tried out, see if it's the same battle. That would be useful information to know. And then I think we still have enough margin for error. The key question is on Ryu. Ryu is the highest stress character right now. I think Anor will definitely be fine if we leave immediately, if it's the Collector. Ryu, I'm not 100% convinced, but I think we can afford to take a chance here. And in the name of science. In the name of science! Is it the... It is.
The sparkling eyes of youth.
It is.
Twisted and
we do surprise it again, but it is. So, in that case, I mean, that's a pretty freaking low possibility of it being a coincidental Collector twice in a row, right? There's a chance that it is a dice roll, and we just so happened to roll the same number both times, but more likely than not, that confirms our question that he is assuming direct control, and we must escape. There's no world in which we can make this encounter work. We have determined this already. We must flee. We must flee. How much stress? Okay, honestly, not that bad. I mean, we're definitely gonna need to relieve stress here, but it's not like we're about to suffer permanent consequences on Ryu or Nor, I don't think. But we need to get out of here. This is just a dungeon that we were not well suited to take care of. So let's see. Heroes will... Oh, we will suffer stress of defeat as well. Okay, so we're not through with the additional load of stress as well. I mean, we just saw it was 20 high teens of stress from retreating there. Is it going to be roughly the same order of magnitude from abandoning this dungeon altogether, or possibly more still? Because if it's roughly the same amount, then Ryu's probably still fine. But if it's more than that, then we might break 100, and my guess is that is a key breaking point that could, given how that would fill this bar, that could lead to a positive or negative quirk. But I think I mean, there's no way around it. We have to do it, right? There's no way around that.
To be tended, lessons to be learned.
We got a little bit of stuffs. Some consumables, some gold. I'm not sure if this was actually a surprising amount, but I'm not sure if this was more than we spent. That might have been a net loss from a money standpoint. Okay. Escape. Quirks for Cam and Anor. The fact that we fled makes me feel as though maybe there's a higher probability of these being negative quirks, but we're about to find out. Cam. It's positive. Fast healer, plus 10% healing while camping. Well, that's lovely. I mean, we'll take it. Anor. Also, oh, some kind of sickness? Potentially, it looks like. Light sensitive. Minus 10% damage of torches above 75. Whoa. And wasting sickness. Minus 50% disease resist. Oh. Okay. Anor is gonna need some attention here, I think. And Ryu is definitely gonna need to do some stress relief. Everyone's gonna need to do some stress relief. Anor has some other stuff she's gonna need to tend to as well. But oh man. I mean, that could have been...
The poor caretaker. I fear his long-standing duties here have affected him.
That could have been a lot worse. It still felt like it went about as horribly wrong as it could have, but nobody died, which is saying something. Technically, because it's free to recruit characters from the caravan, and you could make a case that that's actually not a terrible price to pay if somebody does die, but we did have some of our more experienced people in that encounter. I mean, Anor and I are tied for numero 2. Lids, decide if you're speaking in English or Spanish, okay? Numero dos. But, yeah, that's not a great sign. Steelwolf Jr. Oh, that's... Hold on. This is true. Steelwolf, I'm sorry, this is not Steelwolf. This is, indeed, Steelwolf Jr. Because Steelwolf Sr. suffered a horrible and grievous death. But Steelwolf number 2 is still alive and kicking. Was not there on that encounter, fortunately for Steelwolf. But, Steelwolf 2.0. Okay, so what has happened here? So Lids, Ryu, Cam, and Anor have had to flee the unholy abominations in the ruins. Our Arbalist underwent effective quirk treatment. Love interest was removed. What happened to Steelwolf, though? Steelwolf's bloodletting was a bit too effective. Steelwolf engaged in flagellation and recovered 108 stress. That's a lot, Steelwolf. That's a lot. He said it was a little too effective, but I'm not sure if that actually is a thing. I think you already had all these things before. Okay. So, that week went wonderfully. Absolutely wonderfully. I suppose we can take a quick look at... Ooh. The stagecoach here. We, of course, have had an antiquarian before. Maybe, we've spoken about. You had those all before, Steelwolf. And, it's 3. But it's, it's nothing compared to some other people. I think I'm in the worst shape from that in terms of quantity of downsides. Yeah, it's just 3 for you. Okay, but... So yes, we've gotten an antiquarian before. We currently have a Vestal. We've never seen... nor recruited a Houndmaster, I don't think, so let's at least take a look here. What is the deal? He has a doggo! I suppose that makes sense if he's a Houndmaster, but... Extra damage in the cove. Extra stress versus humans. Reduced damage of ranged skills. Not sure to what extent he uses ranged skills. Well, this is a ranged skill, so there's the answer to that question. At least some of his skills are ranged skills. So, let's see. Some flexibility in terms of positioning. Decent crit, decent accuracy, 100% bleed chance. Just a tiny bit of damage from the bleed, though. Extra damage versus beasts. Huge extra damage against marked enemies. Oh, so potentially additional synergies to go along with the Arbalist and or Bounty Hunter. Okay, we were looking for an excuse to get those people out, so this might be the kind of character we want to combine with them. Target Whistle, also ranged. Good accuracy. No damage. Marks the target. Okay, so also can mark as well. Debuffs the target, giving them reduced defenses. Okay. Lick wounds. Can heal self. Then Blackjack is one of the front rows. That is a melee ability. High accuracy. Low damage. Oh, okay. And average crit, but it stuns. That's a stun ability? Okay, so that means Yeah, spot number 2, as things currently stand, would be a place where this character could do everything. You back up to spot 3, then the stun ability is no longer available, and I do like me the stuns. I do like me those stuns. They are something that we have leaned on heavily and have generally led us to success thus far. So it is intriguing, and I think we do still have a spot here. 2 spots left on our roster, since we don't yet have a Houndmaster, and it is free to recruit him. I suppose there's no real reason not to.
A lawman and his faithful beast. A bond forged by battle and bloodshed.
Also, I like how the melee ability is the ability that he uses himself, whereas the abilities that involve the dog are considered ranged abilities, because as everyone knows, a dog is a ranged weapon. Obviously. I mean, that just goes without saying. So that's the stagecoach. But we have other significant matters to attend to. Ryu definitely needs to relieve some stress. Without question. No restrictions as to where that stress relief is going to come from. But, so maybe we wait and see if we have other people who need to relieve stress who must go to a certain place. Cam, we'd like to, but not quite as desperate. What, I don't shoot my dog from a bazooka? No, actually, I use a longbow. Is my preference. But, you know, to each their own. Okay, so Anor is in serious trouble here. Both from a stress standpoint and from the sickness standpoint as well. So I think maybe we start with the sickness for her, and she was an important piece of the team because she was one of our go-tos for the sometimes 3rd spot, but more often than not the 4th spot, actually. We don't have many people who can take that spot, but Arbalist is back and capable of doing things, so that might be someone we're going to need to rely on to fill in that role, otherwise I don't know who could. So let's, however, make a point of bringing Anor here and relieving, or curing, her disease. So is it basically a disease that makes her more vulnerable to other diseases but does not directly hinder her in any way? Which, you know, maybe you could make the case that that's something that we don't absolutely need to cure, but we probably should. Oh, the Houndmaster and Barrack, it might be time. It might be time. Let's see, I think we go for this, though. How do we lock that in? Oh, we have to select which one we're going for. Okay, 750. So it means, for the time being, that Anor is getting her disease cured, but she will still need to relieve stress after that, so she's going to be out for a while, that means. Then, so that addresses at least one of Anor's issues. Then we have Ryu, we said, is going to need to relieve stress. I'm going to need to relieve stress. Cam probably needs to relieve stress, although does have a little bit lower stress and does have more forms of stress relief, whereas I cannot do that directly. Ryu can, but then again, with 90 stress, we're not about to throw Ryu back into a dungeon anytime soon. So, do I have any restrictions? I will only pray for stress relief. Okay. In which case, that's not good. That's not good. So that's the situation that I was talking about before. Remember when I said how, in some situations, when characters can only do one form of stress relief, and that one form of stress relief is in a place that is currently being occupied by the caretaker, that we might not be able to do that stress relief during that week? Yeah, that's exactly what just happened. Unless we can unlock an additional room here for praying. We've seriously upgraded our penance hall, but guess we could upgrade this too. I mean, we do have a decent number of crests and busts, and it's not a bad thing to invest in. I'm Barrack, you've done it. Going for the Houndmaster? Who let the dogs out? The answer is Barrack. Good choice. Good choice. I'm excited to try this character out. And do you want your Discord name, your Twitch name? there is passive stress reduction from just hanging out in town and not doing anything. Is that what you mean? Like, if I were to just chill here and not actually directly pray or anything like that, I'd at least get a little bit of stress relief. That one's fine? Okay, cool. Because on one hand, I could see making the case for one rest away from being able to get this additional penance hall upgrade. I could sort of see the case for, whenever possible, trying to just max out one form of stress relief and say, like, go for the penance hall, go all in on this, and because we can make it less expensive and increase stress recovery, just overall make it more efficient, we can allocate all of our resources here and make this our go-to spot for stress relief, and after those upgrades, presumably, making it the single most efficient form of stress relief, and just try to allocate as many people to this spot for stress relief as possible, and then, you know, every once in a while, if there's somebody who can't use this spot, then maybe we either cure them of that quirk, or we allow them to go somewhere else. But that could technically be more resource efficient than spreading our upgrades across a bunch of different things, and then some weeks we're having somebody go in the more efficient place, other weeks that's fully upgraded, and other weeks we have somebody go into the other place that only has 1 or 0 upgrades. And ditching the broken people is also a thing, right? Where, because it is free to recruit people, in some ways the replacement cost is free when people are either dead or have so many bad quirks or other things that are not working in their favor that it is just no longer worth the time, effort, or monies or resources to invest any further in them. They're a sunk cost. I mean, it is still a little bit of experience that you're losing out on here, but I mean, that's really the biggest thing that I have going for me right now is that I'm level 2. Outside of that, I have some pretty nasty negative quirks. And we have items that any Crusader could pick up. It doesn't have to be me per se. But I might be the first character that gets scrapped for that reason. I was kind of hoping, to be honest, that I was going to at some point pick up another negative ability, and that it was going to be a not-so-bad negative ability, and replace one of my negative abilities that is bad, like Kleptomania, like God-Fearing. I mean, the 2 ones that are locked in are the bad ones, right? Of course, or the ones that are most difficult to remove are the 2 particularly bad ones. So, never give up, never surrender. So we could just have me sit on the sidelines for this week and not directly participate in any form of stress relief. That's an option, I suppose. And play it by ear. Maybe next week the Caretaker will not be in this spot anymore, or we could try to upgrade this and probably... Ooh, would we be able to get all the way? It's, I assume, rank 3. It's going to be the thing that actually unlocks the additional slot. Because I assume it's kind of parallel from one set of upgrades to the other here. And at that point, if we have to get all the way up to the 3rd upgrade, we might not be able to afford that. 1 and 2, probably. I think we're going to run out of rests after the 2nd one. So I'm not sure we can make enough room to free up some space next to the Caretaker here. So I think I'm just sitting on the sidelines this week, not doing much else. And Ryu, as we were saying, technically speaking, the most efficient place for stress relief is the Penance Hall, and you're going to need it, because you are currently on 90 stress. And we saw Steelwolf, I think, who just spent some time here last week, relieve something like 103. So we've powered this up, and it is supposed to be, I think, the most effective one of all the places here at the Abbey, so should be a good fit. Then, and it's me, it's Cam, the other person, who you could potentially make a case for not needing the full stress relief, because she's only on 44. It's not that bad, certainly not comparatively speaking, not that bad. Oh, no, not here. I meant to go Tavern. Don't think she had any restrictions, did she? Not allowed to gamble while in town. There is that. There is that. You can drink. You can go to the brothel. Could send her over to the penance hall as well, but that's definitely overkill, I think. Yes, we could. Wait, is she God-fearing, did it say? Where'd she go? No, obsessed with sainthood. I still don't really know what that means. Like, does that mean she should not be meditating? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe we take her to the bar, just in case. Some of those more cryptic ones I have yet to decode. I think we probably just send her here. I don't think she needs the higher stress relief for the more expensive places, because she only needs to relieve a little bit. Okay, so that previous dungeon was costly, both from the standpoints of we did not get the full rewards from it by any means, and we paid a bunch of stuff. We paid a bunch to get the resources to undergo that dungeon, and then we also had to do a whole lot to relieve stress and remove sicknesses at the end of it. So with all that stuff, it started to add up quite a bit. And before we even go on our next dungeon here, we are back down into the, quadruple digits. I'm pretty sure we were hovering around the low teens for thousands, you know, like 12, 13, 14,000, maybe even a little bit higher than that. So that's a little bit concerning, because if we get another one of those, then we could find ourselves running into a bit of a soft lock, and that's the last thing we want to have happen, of course.